Welcome to the show that never ends. The Xbox 2 podcast is live on this beautiful Friday. A little bit later than normal, about an hour later than normal. I had some things I needed to take care of. I had people come over, so but we weren't going to delay the show because we got some last stuff to talk about. There's some spicy things, some bad things, some great things, just a whole bunch, a smorgasbord, if you will, of things that we need to discuss. I'm one of your hosts, as always, Rand Jez 19, the man with the million, and is all, my right-hand man, Jez Corden, managing editor of Windows Central, trying to put out fires everywhere. What's going on, buddy?
Yo, Rand Jez 19, the man with the million hot takes. How are you doing, pal? It's been a week.
Has it been a week?
Yeah, it's been a week, and it's never ending. Microsoft's decided that nobody's allowed to take a break this week. Just non-stop news, non-stop 24/7, burning everyone out, whole team. So yeah, thanks Microsoft.
This is what it's like to be a managing editor. This is the moment you have to assert yourself and basically prove that you have what it takes in these times where there's news dropping every 10, 15 minutes. Significant information. Significant. This is going to forge you into a better journalist and a better man.
Well, my response to that is, I got Diablo Endgame to play, dude.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about being a better journalist. I want to be a better necromancer.
Yeah.
And I can't be a better necromancer if Microsoft keeps pulling me away from the game to deal with stuff. So yeah, GG.
Jez, you do have to apologize to our listeners who listen after the show because there've been no timestamps the last 2 weeks, bro.
What? Well,
the last two episodes, I should say. The last two episodes.
The whole episode was a timestamp. So the whole episode was one topic. So why do we need timestamps for that one? And second of all, the Xbox 2+1 was also an entire timestamp because it was all about Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this episode will have timestamps. So I apologize.
Yes,
but it's hard.
Once you give people something, you can't take it away. People, this is a long show sometimes.
Maybe we should make the timestamps Patreon exclusive. How about
that? Yeah, that would be ridiculous. That would be absurd. Someone says that your audio is weird.
My audio is weird.
Doesn't sound weird to me. Does anybody else think Jez's audio is weird? Maybe turn it down a scotch, just a tad. Maybe you're peaking, but it doesn't show you're peaking on my end.
Testing.
Just go with that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean it sounds fine on my end. I don't hear anything, and it's fine on OBS. So. Apologize if there's any audio issues. We know how it is when Jez gets into the Discord call. Even today it was like 3 minutes before he was like, "Oh, I can hear you." So, yeah.
I've got the right microphone selected, so I don't know.
Right. But anyways, just when do you think, the summer lull is over, right? The showcase is done. Everybody's already talked to death about the future of Xbox and all that stuff. It's like, no, you thought news was over? You thought wrong, because Xbox versus FTC started this week, and we got some nuggets, bro. We got some absolute nuggets. We even got more information about Starfield, Xbox raising the prices, Xbox losing the console war. There's obviously a ton of stuff here. So please do us a huge favor. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. We're almost at, we're halfway to 96,000, almost 100K. I mean, it seems like we might be on pace for 100K this year, Jez, which means obviously there's going to be an episode of Xbox 2 with the camera, and we'll see how that works moving forward. So make sure you hit the like button. We're going to have a fantastic show. I'm going to probably bust out some Darth Rand, and I think Jez is going to be a little spicy, because there's some interesting things we need to discuss.
There is indeed.
But before we get into that, Jez,
yes,
do we have an ad read today?
We do indeed, Rand. We have a Manscaped ad read because, once again, Rand, the Xbox 2 is sponsored by Manscaped. Have you had to have a court litigation hearing with the FTC? Don't let your court proceedings be a disappointment. Don't let your presentation catch you with your pants down. Get yourself prepared with Manscaped. Are you ready to unveil your beach bod? Manscaped is here to ensure your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full-body grooming and hygiene products. Don't be that guy at the beach this summer with Austin Powers chest hair, and if you grew some winter man boobs, the least you can do is make sure they're shiny and smooth. It's time to get ready for Hot Guy Summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code XB2. That's manscaped.com, 20% off, free shipping with the code XB and the number 2. Rand, actually, Manscaped has got a new product line, which I'm very interested to use.
Really? What is it? What do they got now?
Products.
A beard product? Well, I mean, that is something you definitely need to use. Probably something I need to use, too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, right? The up until now, their products have been all about dealing with your beard down below, and now it's all about the beard up on top. They got razors, they got all sorts of beard formulae, trimmers, all kinds of stuff. It looks very professional, very premium. So hopefully I'm going to be trying some of that out in the short term. But yes, Manscaped, thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring our video. I use their products all the time, Rand. Not going to lie. I literally went to town on those balls last weekend.
Oh, geez. Do we really need to know that? Do we really?
Well, you know now, baby.
Did you go? Was this before or after your trip to the show to E3 and LA?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, I'm not going to go to LA with unkempt balls. What are you talking about? But yes,
I wouldn't.
Manscaped.com.
I wouldn't begrudge anybody for just immediately throwing up in disgust and leaving the show right now and just being like, I am done with Xbox 2 after I just heard what I heard Jez say. Like, seriously.
My testicles are beautiful.
Oh my
thanks
God.
to Manscaped.
I almost make. I think I need a new co-host. Is anybody out there want to be a new co-host of Xbox 2? Because I'm kind of I'm feeling a little sick all of a sudden.
Well, who knows, man? When we finally start doing Xbox 2 on camera, I can give you a demonstration.
Oh my God.
That'll probably get us demonetized.
Yeah, that would, I would get banned. I would get banned. But it's not just Manscaped, which, thanks to them, use the code XB2, get 20% off, free shipping. We also have the wonderful people at Patreon to help support the show. And we got some shout-outs we got to get to. We got James Weezo, The Grandest of Bip, Chris Parney, Starsman, Hey Blinken, Army Dude 52C, Mr. Butterjeans, Ryan Kipple, Foreign Object, Mythic Marty, Moronic Donkey 99, Mockazilla, Randall Thor 19, Silas, Eric Gregory, Elijah Vasquez, James Moore, Halo is the franchise player, K-Trox, Bright Tundra 1, Jasper Shapp, Asian Cognito, Justin Duel, Frank Marino, PB Broking, Asa T, and Madison, Untidy Tim, Grizzly Mofo OG, Governor Grimm, DZ Huffin, Justin Sago, Andrew Courtney, Wagerman, Achievement, The Scarecrow 121, Darren Tropey, Prof JJJ, Butterball 8, Ghostface Killer, Wolf King, KPZ, and Ralph Wiggum. Thank you guys so much for supporting us. If anybody didn't know, we did the Xbox 2 +1 this past Tuesday with Paris Lilly of Gamertag Radio and Kinda Funny XCast fame. So you can check out that interview now, and it should be available to everybody this upcoming week. And as well, we do have an Xbox 2 Ultimate show coming this week on Tuesday. If you want, to basically give us any ideas for a themed show, you're more than welcome to in the Patreon. I think, Jez, you're going to make like a thread about what people would want. But yeah, so you got Xbox 2 Plus 1 last week, Xbox 2 Ultimate upcoming on Tuesday. And then who knows what else? We're trying to lock down some guests for the future. But thank you guys very much for supporting us. Anyways.
You're all awesome.
With that out of the way.
Awesome people.
Yes, very awesome people. I thought the Xbox 2 Plus 1 interview with Paris Lily went very well. And if you guys did listen to it, you know that not only was Jez's question to Todd Howard answered, so was mine. Because we were talking about, he was like, hey, we got Todd Howard coming on the show tomorrow. And Jez was like, I want to ask about fishing. And Paris wasn't going to... he wasn't having any of it, right?
No.
He wasn't having none of it. And then, what'd you do? How'd you get Gary Whitta to ask that question?
Well, I kind of... Gary Whitta is sort of effortlessly based.
Right,
So
right.
I kind of figured if there's anyone who's going to get an answer for the people on the very pertinent issue of fishing in Starfield, chances are it would be Gary Whitta. And lo and behold, I was correct. Gary Whitta, in all of his magnificence, asked my question. And he also made it sound really smart because he was like, well, technically, if we do find life on other planets, chances are it's going to be in the oceans, according to the science. So it kind of makes sense to ask such a question, right? Maybe, sort of, kind of.
Right.
I don't know. But long story short, there is no fishing in Starfield. Sadly. So we need modders to sort.
But there might be mods in the future, right? There might be mods. I was really happy that Paris got in my question about the black holes. If there are any black holes in the game, and Todd decided to pass. Which means to me that they probably are, because if they weren't, you might as well just say no. And the fact that he didn't say a word and was just passing on it, I wonder if black holes will play some sort of importance in the game. Maybe like a main mission of some kind. I don't know. But it got me thinking. So we appreciate Paris for bringing it up. And they're killing it over on Kinda Funny. Phil Spencer 1 month. Todd Howard the next month. And all I get every single week is Jez Corden. It's not fair sometimes, I tell you. Right?
Yeah, they've kind of lapped us. Out of nowhere.
They were always better. But I'm just saying, they get to interview huge people, and I get to interview Jez Corden every week. It's you're
not happy with this arrangement, Rand?
Maybe I need to see if Paris Lily is available Fridays at 2 p.m. as my new co-host.
Wow. That you're going to do me? Wow. I'll take my balls elsewhere then. Maybe I'll join Defining Duke.
Oh, you're going to join Cognito and Maddie? I see how it is.
Yeah,
Xbox 2 is disintegrating before everybody's eyes right now. We're all going to go our separate ways. I
appreciate some smooth balls over there, let me tell you.
Yeah, they probably do. Anyways.
What happens in LA stays in LA.
What did happen in LA?
Oh, we don't talk about that. I just said it stays in LA.
Oh, that's not fair.
You should have gone then. And you know all about the smooth balls.
Apparently.
I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Oh man. All
right, so let's get some of these super chats, and then we're gonna get into spicy topics. Jax82 says, catching up on podcasts, finished watching last week's pod Rand. Dumper, really? Jez, congrats on the recent interview. Heard every word. Oh, space fishing, what? Yes. You know what? We got to send some love to Miles Dompier. I think he had some, his dad might be in the hospital, I believe.
Yeah, his dad's got cancer.
Yeah.
Which is really, really shit.
So send some love to Miles Dompier, as I call Miles Dumper, affectionately, because someone called him that in a super chat on his show. I thought he was magnificent on the show with us last week when talking about the showcase and Xbox and all that stuff. So it sucks to see Miles have to go through that. So make sure you send Miles some messages. And yeah, you were actually interviewed, Jez, recently, but this time people could actually hear you, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I was on TV.
You were on TV again. Yeah. So what happened? How'd this come about?
Well, they just dropped me a line and was like, "Do you want to come on?" And this time it's pre-recorded, so we can make sure there's no issues with the live feed. But yeah, I was on Deutsche Welle's Business News, which is a German. It's their German public broadcaster, international news. And yeah, I went on there, talked about some Activision, ABK stuff, and all that kind of stuff, and it was really awesome. And I suppose I'm legit now. It's really funny, Rand. I've been doing this for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
About 8 years as a hobby, and then doing it as a freelance for like 3 or 4 years, and then full time about 5 years or something like that.
And we've been doing Xbox 2 for 6, right?
Yeah, something like that. But my family has never understood my job. They don't know what my job is. They don't even know if I've got a real job. They don't understand it. But the moment I show them that I'm on the news,
you're on the
TV,
telly. You're on the telly, right?
I'm on the telly. Yeah. Suddenly they all get it.
Oh,
so it's like, oh, okay, I get it. I get what your job is now. So it was very helpful on that basis. But yeah, it was a cool experience. Hopefully I get to do it again someday. But that is apparently legitimate now, whatever that means.
I mean, you made it, bro. Nobody's asked me to be on TV. Although, if I were to be on TV... Actually, it kind of was. I got a million gamer score with Phil Spencer and Jessica Chobot and Mike Ybarra at E3 2016. So, I guess it's almost as good as being on TV.
Man, what happened to Jessica Chobot? I feel like I haven't seen her on anything.
Yeah. Yeah, she hasn't been around. I think she's doing other stuff. Chris Stanley says, first time live. Love you guys. Love you for being here. I always, when I look at chat when we're talking about stuff, sometimes if I'm in the zone and I'm trying to make a point, I don't look at chat because sometimes chat will distract me. But, I'm always looking at chat, and I love it when I see new people come in and say, hey, this is my first time watching live. I normally catch it on Spotify or normally catch it on iTunes, and it's my first time here. I love seeing new people show up every single week, and the fact that we provide, you don't have to listen to the show on YouTube. You can listen to it anywhere else that you want, and it's always cool to see people who don't even know I have a YouTube channel who listen to us on iTunes or discovered us via Spotify, eventually then make their way over and check out the live show. Because I do wonder how the show actually sounds if you're someone who watches it, tomorrow on Spotify, right? Versus like being here live and seeing all the comments because, we have, usually over 1,000 people. Yeah, the chat's a part of the show. Everybody's got their own opinions. Sometimes they're trolls, sometimes they're not. And I'm always curious, like, how does that actually play out for the listeners later on? You know what I mean? Like, is it a good experience? Does it make you want to come out and check the show out live to see what it's all about? But me and Jez are just really appreciative that people watch the show, period, whether it's here live with us or later on.
Doing anything.
Yeah.
Spend their Fridays doing anything.
I know. And Fridays, it's a good thing, I guess, that we do Friday afternoons. So, a lot of people can kind of listen to it and then go have, maybe throw a few back later on that night and, go out and party. Or I get a lot of messages from people that say, hey, I work on Mondays and basically listen to your show and it's half the work shift, because we tend to go long. We tend to go 4 hours sometimes and, 8-hour shift. Or people like truckers. People will message me being like, I love the show. It's got, it gets me going when I got to drive these long roads. This is more than I ever could imagine when, number one, I started the YouTube channel because, my buddy Tim Dog was just like, you need to make a YouTube channel. And I was like, really? And I did. And it significantly improved my life, significantly changed it. And, to we get messages all the time, even in our Discord, about how people listen to us when they're in the hospital, which I don't know how to respond to that, because that's like the greatest thing someone could say. Like, hey, I'm struggling and I've struggled, or I'm going through some horrible times, but you've made it better for me. I honestly don't know what to say to that, because I've been through rough times. I know what it's like to go through those things, and I've had, people or things help me out, and I know what it means to have to latch onto something, so everything doesn't go to shit, basically. And it blows my mind to the point where I'm speechless, Yeah. So I just wanted to say, love you guys for being here so much, and let's have a spicy show. I feel I got some things to say, but not all good things, because everyone's going to expect me to say something about Jim Ryan. Oh, and we will. But I got some choice comments about Xbox in general. But we'll get there. So we also have we have Addigator, who says in the FTC hearing it was implied the next-gen consoles will release in 2028, and Elder Scrolls 6 will be released in 5 years or so years. Do you think Elder Scrolls 6 could be a console launch game?
That's a good question, actually. It could very well be. Like, I suppose if you're Microsoft and Bethesda working together, and a new generation's opportunity to turn the page, right, and do something new and innovative, like, there's no better way of doing that in showcasing your new hardware with a game like the Elder Scrolls. I mean, honestly, I think Oblivion was the first 360 game that I truly loved. I had a bunch of 360 games at launch, but they were all kind of like not that great. Like, I had the original Dead Rising, which I know some people really like, but I wasn't a big fan of it. Stuff like that. And then I got Oblivion. It was like, oh my god, what is this game? I can do anything. I don't understand. Like, I never played a game like that before. So imagine if, like, the next generation of Creation Engine games launches direct with the next console. Maybe even Bethesda pitches in on development. They're like, okay, well, this is the game we want to make, and this is the hardware we need to make this dream a reality. So I could see that, I mean, personally.
Yeah, so, I mean, Microsoft basically said in this thing that next gen might start around 2028, which is what we imagined, right? Normally it's like 7 years. I figured an extra year on top for all the pandemic stuff. So 2028 makes sense. And Sony, the rumors of a mid-gen refresh, they did one exactly halfway through the gen last time. And Tom Henderson, too many Toms in this industry. You get them all confused sometimes. Tom Henderson said that Sony's planning a PS5 Pro next year, and I mean, historically, which obviously there's not a lot to draw from because it's just one gen, but that would be, the halfway mark. So yeah, 2028 makes sense. And I think some people may be surprised that Elder Scrolls is that far out, but I'm not. Look, they spent all this time working on Starfield. It's overly ambitious. Even Pete Hines said during the trial that it's irresponsibly ambitious. And if you want to hear more about it, make sure you check out Kinda Funny's interview. Snowbike Mike, Paris, Gary Whitta asking great questions, right? We even got an answer of like how many planets actually have life out of 1,000. It's 100. And I've seen a lot of only 100 planets? Come on! What am I going to do for the other night? And it's like, bro, don't go to the other planets then. Like, if you only want to go to the ones with life, don't go to the planets that don't have life. Like,
it's scientifically accurate. That's why they're
true. Yeah, there's most planets don't have life. But I just seen this kind of thorough line of 900 planets with nothing. Starfield's got an empty universe. It's like, bro, nobody is forcing you to go to a planet to mine stuff. If you don't want to go to that planet, don't go to that planet. Go to the planets that have life or something. It's ridiculous, some of this fake concern from people that I see.
I haven't seen any of that.
Oh, bro.
I haven't seen any of it. I got them on blocks, bro.
I know you have everybody. I know you have everybody blocked.
I love it. I love blocking everyone.
But yeah, so their next game is Elder Scrolls 6. And we know from some of the filings that Microsoft, there was a franchise, a game that Microsoft said would take 10 years to make. And well, Elder Scrolls 6 was revealed in 2018. And 10 years would be 2028. And if they start working on Elder Scrolls 6 in late 2024, because we already know Starfield has expansions, right?
Yeah.
Shattered Space is the first one you get for buying the premium $100 version. I assume they might be a second expansion, maybe even a third one or other content. So it's probably like that stuff's got to be made. So what are they going to be doing after they ship? They're probably going to go on vacation, right? They're going to celebrate. We just shipped Starfield. Everybody take like a 2-month vacation outside of like mandatory personnel to maybe patch stuff. So people are going to celebrate. They're going to come back. They'll probably in 2024 start working on content expansions for the game, and then some point transition over to Elder Scrolls. And if you've seen how long it took them to make Starfield, you can kind of, factor in what Matt Booty said recently about how games take, 3, 4, 5, 6 years to make big AAA games, and nobody makes them any bigger than Bethesda and all the things they do. So you're probably looking at 2028, 2029. And that would be absolutely massive if they could somehow, well, they tried this already this gen, didn't they? Launching the Xbox Series X with Halo Infinite. That didn't work out so well, did it?
No,
yeah,
it didn't.
That had Halo tries to do a lot. It's like one of the few games out there that needs to have campaign and co-op campaign and multiplayer and Forge and all that stuff, and they couldn't do it, and it needed to be delayed 2 years. Season 4 just launched. So, yeah, okay, you want to try it again, launch a new console, Elder Scrolls. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, I could see that happening, that time frame, for sure. Face, he says Microsoft tried to buy Zynga. Phil Spencer confirms. I mean, that's not surprising. We know that they wanted to get a mobile publisher, right?
I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, me
Zynga
too.
is so boring. Like, at least with Blizzard, you get Hearthstone and Diablo Immortal, which, make money. Not really something... I have played a fair bit of Hearthstone, but it's not really something that excites me. But nothing bores me more than Farmville. which is what Zynga's all about.
Hey, does What's-His-Face still work at Zynga?
I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
Don Matrick, former head of Xbox.
I honestly don't know. I don't know.
Does anybody know in chat if he still works at Zynga? Because that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious.
If he ended back up at Xbox?
Yeah, like they bought Zynga and Don Matrick ended up back at Xbox, just like how Mike Ybarra and Rod Ferguson might end up back at Xbox. It's like you can leave, but you're not going to be gone for long because you're coming back.
Yes,
but
you never leave.
But yeah, I'm with you. Zynga, whatever. King's a better get. I mean, I've always said, even though personally I'm not the biggest fan of Activision Blizzard in general. Like, yeah, I play Call of Duty every single year and stuff. If you're looking at an acquisition that would help Xbox the most, revenue-wise and all the different goals they have for PC, mobile, Game Pass, I mean, it's clearly head and shoulders Activision Blizzard over everybody. I mean, sure, I would rather have them get Capcom or Warner Brothers or, whatever else.
Everyone's mad that we're pronouncing it wrong. It's Zynga.
Zynga. Well, Zynga. This is also a podcast where I mispronounce everything. So, I mean, should you be surprised?
That's like your signature move.
Yeah, I mispronounce everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting, I do wonder if any other acquisitions will come out of the court case. And people in chat, you'll have to keep us abreast of any major developments.
Well,
we ain't paying attention.
Dude, Jim Ryan's testimony basically... Nobody can see it besides the lawyers and the judge. I think everybody was kicked out for his video deposition. What is Jim going to talk about? What does Jim got to say on camera that nobody else can see, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind. I think like he's done it that way, so like Microsoft and their lawyers can't give a decent rebuttal to it. But I don't know. I think it's kind of messed up that they even allow for that way of doing it. I don't know. But whatever. See, this is part of my cynicism. I just like I don't think the system works.
You don't think?
So like
you know what comes across very apparent.
What's that?
Is that the people making these decisions, like the FTC, have literally no clue how the industry works. That's one thing you can gather from watching the court process, is that the judge and the FTC, who seems woefully unprepared, they have 18 months to make their arguments, and it seems like they threw this shit together literally the night before. It literally seems like it's something I would do when I was in school, where it was like, hey, guess what? You have a 10-page paper you got to do tomorrow, right? And you know about it 2 months in advance. And you're like, I got time. Whatever, right? And then, like, literally the night before, you haven't done anything, and you're up literally all night typing stuff out, trying to, actually string together. And this is the era before ChatGPT, which would write stuff for you. Right? Back when you actually had to go to libraries in person to actually get books and stuff, you didn't even have Google back then. Yeah, so it was like, oh my God. And it's like, I've done that so many times where it was like day before, need to write something. And, I'm confident enough in my abilities where I can put together some bullshit and make it sound good, right? But that's what it sort of seems like the FTC. Hey, I don't know if you know this, but you need a Windows stream key to stream this podcast, Jez, on Windows, whatever the hell it was. I mean, come on, like they don't. That's what I'm worried about. Okay, because personally, I don't think the judge is going to grant the injunction. However, I can't discount the incompetency and just the lack of general knowledge these people have regarding the industry, where the judge might think, now we'll get more into it because I don't think the judge is going to grant it, but the judge might be like, hey, the FTC's arguments sound good to me, granted, right? Because you have Microsoft and their lawyers who clearly, obviously, know the industry and are explaining everything. You have the FTC who's clueless about everything, and you have the judge who's like, video games, what are that? What are those?
Well, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not the judge's job to know the industry, but the FTC at the very least should know the basics. Like they're operating on the assumption that you need a Windows key to, they think Windows is like iOS. They literally think that Windows is a closed platform like iPhone. Like the ignorance is absolutely. It's just staggering. It is so staggering. And that is why, like, I ain't ruling out the idea that this could get blocked, because everyone in charge is a moron. They're all idiots, And I've been seeing time and time again across every aspect of the political, regulatory, framework and the landscape. It's all run by idiots, all operating in bad faith. And you just can't rule out anything. So I'm sort of operating on this idea that anything could happen right now.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, I do have a bet. I have a $50 bet.
Yeah. Joaquin also has a bet with me. So you're basically going to be... So what's your bet with him?
My bet is that the deal gets blocked.
Why you do this?
My bet is that it doesn't go through.
Look, I get you. You're doing it because you want it to go through, but you don't want your heart to be broken again. So you're just gonna say, you know what? It's worth the $50 to say it's not gonna go through because I don't want to get hurt. Right?
Nah, I just like those odds.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. But guess what? My bet with Joaquin is that it will go through. So what's going to end up happening is it will go through. You'll pay him the 50, and then he'll owe me the 50. So you're essentially giving me the 50. Yeah.
Why does he have two bets?
Well, no, we had a bet way back that he has to buy me a nice premium book, and he has a bet with you. If it goes through, I win my bet with him, and you lose your bet with him. So you got to pay him, and then he's got to buy me something.
I'm confused.
It's not that confusing, bro.
Okay, fine.
Pillow says, Jez, come on. Noxus says, Jez is weird. This is just how Jez operates. I know him. He wants the deal to go through, but he doesn't want to put his heart on the table and actually hope it goes. Yo, don't give me this nonsense that you don't care. Please.
No, it's true.
I know you.
It's true.
I know you well enough.
I've been playing. I said this before. I was worried that Blizzard was going downhill, but
and they still can.
Yeah, I mean, they can.
Overwatch 2. Hello.
Hello. Now I'm just can't. Yeah, okay. Overwatch 2 is a bit messed up, but look at Halo. I don't think Microsoft's going to be a silver bullet to save Overwatch. But I'm quite happy with the way Diablo and World of Warcraft are right now, and I don't want Microsoft to mess that up.
Yeah, well, I mean, Microsoft's already said that they would run it independently, so.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, well, that's the thing. They run it independently, then it's like nothing changes, really.
Well, outside of maybe Bobby Kotick not running the company anymore.
Well, Kotick changing leadership is an important and good thing. I think Kotick is he's well out of touch, and I think he has to go. And also, it's cool for gamers because we get everything on Game Pass, save money. That's cool too. Also, the option of Diablo on xCloud, which I've always thought Diablo on xCloud is going to be a great boost for that service, even though I don't know. I don't think cloud's ever going to take off, to be honest. But yeah, I don't mind either way because I've got my Diablo now. I've got World of Warcraft doing well, so whatever.
You know, Blizzard was doing great at one point, and then they weren't, and now they might be again. But then, who knows?
I don't believe in the system. I do not believe in the system. I think Microsoft's made all the right arguments. They've got all the facts on their side. I just don't believe in the system. It's pure cynicism.
Yeah.
It's pure cynicism.
Fair enough. Chaos Might says, Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond holding down the fort. These last 2 days of circus clowns called FTC questioning them about nonsense. Yeah. Renell says, please do an intro video with only Peppa Pig clips and the usual music. Maybe for an April's Fool. Nobody would watch that if I use Peppa Pig clips. That means I would actually have to...
You didn't even want Peppa Pig in the current one.
No,
we got
absolutely not. I know.
I had to sneak that in behind Rand's back.
You did sneak it in, behind my back, and I was like, really? And then I was like, oh well, it works out fair. It works out well enough. James says, yo, glad to be here live. It's pronounced like Wezzo, by the way. Love to see Gary shout out Jez's fishing question and the Big Todd Dodge and the Black Hole question. My guess is it's where the force powers come from. It could be possible. Much love, dudes. Thank you so much, James, for the support. It means a lot. Fatfolder93, little joke from Manscaped. What is 56 teeth and holds back a monster? My zipper. It's good to catch you two live. It's been months. Well, we're glad that you're here. Silas says, was it a coincidence that Jez, at the last minute, came to America, and who was here at the same time? Rishi Sunak. Makes you wonder. Who's Rishi Sunak?
He's the Prime Minister of Britain.
Oh, okay.
The so-called Prime Minister.
The so-called, okay. So it's a conspiracy.
I can say so-called because he's absolutely terrible at his job, and I think a monkey could do a better job, or some kind of small woodland rodent could probably do a better job than Rishi. But well, bless him. He tries. Bless his little cotton socks, eh? But
I get the sense that you don't like him, huh? That's what I'm gathering from you.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in their right mind likes him. I don't think even his own party like him. Nobody likes him.
All right. Roy says, heard that courts say to put Starfield on PlayStation. No, that's not true. Uh-oh. Special Nick is here.
Oh, that guy.
But I mean, Special Nick is here with an Australian $2.99 didgeridoos, which is like, I don't know, 2 pennies US. So it's like he wants me to say this thing, but when I go to Xbox Era, like, I give $5 or $10, I don't give him pennies, Special Nick, YouTube millionaire, living off of all that Xbox Air money. He comes in here with basically, not much. And he wants me to make fun of you because he feels empowered, Jez. He says, hey, Jez, 2-0. 3 is coming, buddy. It's coming.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Nick also said that
What did Nick
Call of
say?
Duty would have. He said Call of Duty would eventually be exclusive, and Phil today
Oh, yeah, that's
said
true.
under oath that wouldn't happen. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Nick said a lot of stuff that hasn't come true. Most of it he won't say publicly because he knows it's BS, but he still says it to me. He still says it to me. And I'd be like, Nick, you crazy, bro. I mean,
I don't know.
I will say, though, if the Gears collection is real, Jez, whew, people can be coming for you. They're going to be like, oh, really?
Coming
Jez,
for what? About what? The Gears collection?
I guess. I don't know. What is Nick two up on you on? What was the one that he, like, I get the Indiana Jones thing.
I said Indiana Jones. I can't
that's
remember.
one. So what's the other one?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know. Is Nick just making stuff up? Oh, I think it's because he mentioned that you said Starfield would be cross-gen. And he said it would be next gen only.
Fair enough. I mean, that was a good guess, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty good guess. Gears collection is probably a good guess as well.
Good guesses
it makes a lot of business sense, even if it doesn't exist right now. We'll see.
bunch of good guesses by Nick. You know, it's broken clock is right twice a day essentially, right? as they say.
Yes, indeed.
So what else we got here? Jay Foley. Did you guys see the article where Microsoft said the Series S is the standard console and the Series X is the mid-gen upgrade? That was
That's spooky.
That was the Digital Foundry. It wasn't an article. It was Digital Foundry did their podcast and basically said that when Microsoft talked to Digital Foundry about the consoles, they kind of said like, and the Series X would be like what a mid-gen upgrade would be essentially. But I don't think it was meant literally. It was more kind of a like figuratively than like, oh, the standard console is the Series S. At least to my knowledge. At least that's the way I took it, right?
Fair enough.
Leaky Hum says Nick said Scalebound, Killer Instinct are a thing. Jez is wrong. Well, Leaky Hum is definitely a special Nick fan.
Did Nick really say Scalebound's coming back?
Yeah, he says Scalebound's coming back. Where you been?
Oh, well, who knows? Hey, who knows?
Well, apparently Nick does, and he says you're wrong about everything.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
My track record speaks for itself.
Yeah, Indiana Jones multiplat certainly does.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they did say they renegotiated the contract.
That is true. They did say that.
I did hear it was multi-platform, and they confirmed that. That's all I said.
That is true. So Nick, you don't get any wins, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, you don't get any wins. Sorry,
Jez was correct. It was multi-platform, and it was changed. So you're just got one win. You got it's not two. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, sorry, Nick. Better luck next time.
Yeah. So I know you've been playing Diablo, but I don't know.
Stop.
We need to talk about Diablo. I guess I'll mention Diablo. I finished Diablo. I beat the game, finished the campaign, and slayed the world boss, which was a lot of fun. A lot of people there. And then I deleted the game off my hard drive, never to be reinstalled ever again.
Not even for the expansion.
Because it's over, bro. Well, it depends. Depends on what the expansion's about. I mean, I enjoyed my time with Diablo. That's the thing. I like it, but I don't love it. So I put 30 some odd hours into the game, and there's a lot of game there. A lot of side quests, a lot of things to do, big open world and all that stuff.
Did you do the side quests?
I mean, I did. I did, but the thing was, it didn't really make a lot of sense to do a lot of them because you would hit level 50 way before you beat the boss. And I hit level 50 like literally right after I beat the final boss. Because I was like, all right, well, I was doing a lot of side quests at the beginning, and then I stopped essentially when I got to Act 3, where I kind of just did the main story.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I enjoyed it, but it's like, as Shady says in the chat, level 70 to 100 represents half of the total required XP to max level in Diablo 4. That's great, and I'm not here for that. If you guys want to grind out level 70 to 100 and just constantly play on harder difficulties, so you can get better gear, so you can beat those harder difficulties, so you can level up to 100. Don't let me stop you. But you know what I'm not doing? I ain't doing that. I got other things I want to do in life. Read books, watch TV shows, play other games. But yeah, my time with Diablo is over.
Yeah. My colleague Zachary Bodie, he's actually writing a tutorial right now, saying basically what you just said. That he's finished the campaign now, doesn't see the point carrying on. But yeah, it's that sort of, if you enjoy the combat and the feeling of just vaporizing,
what, clicking,
yeah, and vaporizing.
That's what you're doing right now, right? All you're doing is just clicking. Well, actually, you're pressing a button. Game, right? You're pressing a button. My bad.
I'm pressing the button, or tapping. If it comes to xCloud. Oh, sorry about that. Yawning. It's getting later. But a bloody Rand delaying the podcast.
Yeah, just an hour, bro.
But I'm addicted to it. I'm pushing well into endgame, level 57 now. I won't stop playing it, probably ever. Maybe. I don't know. I love it. I just love everything about it. But I have actually played a different game recently, Rand.
What was that?
Well, first of all, I want to give a quick shout out to Hollow Knight.
Great game.
Which is, I know it's, oh my god, wait, that game's really old. And I know I'm well late to the party here. But I never played it before. And on my Asus, I needed a game I could play offline. Because the airport Wi-Fi was not good enough and the in-flight Wi-Fi was not good enough to play Diablo. So I had Hollow Knight installed and I started playing it and played it for about 15 hours and absolutely love it now. Brilliant game. But I also played, Rand, the game that is currently up on screen if you did indeed capture the footage as requested.
I mean, of course I did.
It is Lies of P. I was playing Lies of P. I played Lies of P, I think it was last.
You played it at Gamescom, I think, right? Or something.
Nah, it was like a preview thing. It was like last February or something. I played it, I think. And we had a PC build, and my brother wrote a preview of it, and I also played that build. So I also played it as well, and I thought, yeah, this is pretty good. Didn't feel particularly amazing, but it was pretty good, and I enjoyed it for what it was. But the demo, 6 months later, it feels so much better than what I experienced last year, and I think it's really, really good. It's sort of like people are comparing it to Bloodborne a lot, I suppose, because of the atmosphere and the sort of, I don't know, the almost Victorian kind of inspired era, I suppose. But I don't think it's really fair to compare it to Bloodborne, which, by the way, I've also been playing recently.
Okay.
But yeah, Bloodborne is, it's Bloodborne. It feels very different to Lies of P. But Lies of P is I had to sort of I found myself having to retrain my brain, because when you play games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and stuff, it's you're going through the iframes, right? But Lies of P is a little bit, maybe even more similar to Sekiro, I want to say, where you have to block, and you have to block well to really do combat effectively and efficiently, because the dodge roll is very, I don't know, you don't roll very far with that dodge roll.
Yeah,
and I don't think there's iframes attached to it. I could be wrong about that, but you generally speaking, you don't want to be dodging. You maybe dodge some big area attacks and stuff like that to get out of the way. But most of the hits are about blocking, and then you attack to recover health lost, which I believe is similar to Bloodborne. But there's a demo up on Xbox Live, and I believe Rand's got the footage up on the show. Which, by the way, I've been uploading the video podcast to Spotify recently, Rand, as well. So people can actually watch the podcast on Spotify after the fact. So you'll be able to check out the footage on Spotify too later. But I think it's pretty damn good. I kind of feel I kind of feel bad that it's launching so close to Starfield, because I think that's gonna, especially on Game Pass, that's gonna really bury it. I feel like.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I think there's an audience for those type of games. And also, I mean, it's multi-platform. It's on PC, it's on PlayStation, it's on Xbox. It's more of like a value add for Game Pass, where it's like, hey, you got Starfield, and you got Lies of P, and Payday 3, and Party Animals if you want. Yeah, I downloaded the Lies of P demo because I told Jez, hey, put Final Fantasy 16 in the poll because I was going to start that. And then he was like, okay. And I was like, all right, well, this is what I'm going to capture. Because Jez doesn't like capturing footage for you guys, by the way. It usually comes down to me. Yeah, because Liza P was winning. And then Jez is like, can you capture the footage? Just like he did with Redfall. And just like he does with all these other games. So can you capture the footage? I'm too busy playing Diablo. You know?
Man.
So yeah, so you can watch the footage and you can watch me die 3 times to the first boss, because I was trying to figure out exactly, okay, do I block him? Do I try dodging? I wasn't really sure like exactly what I needed to do. And yeah, I think I died to him like 3 times, but it feels good to play. I mean, it's definitely a Souls game through and through. I like the look of it. But yeah, there is a little bit kind of like, am I going to be done with Starfield? Because even when we were just talking about Diablo and me, talking crap about it, even though I'm just kind of, look, it's just my personal opinion, right? And it's sort of the same way I feel about Destiny. It's like, I like playing through the campaign of Destiny. I like the feeling of how powerful you get. Like every time you beat somebody or you kill an elite enemy in Diablo, you're always getting better gear. And for a while there in Diablo, it was always better gear. You're always getting, stronger and stronger. And there's more abilities you get. So it's like, oh man, this feels really good. And the same thing felt for Destiny, where it was like every new drop you got made you stronger and you're getting new abilities. But then eventually that all sort of stops. And you're not getting like better gear all the time. And you reach the end of the campaign, which I quite enjoyed the story it was telling. That kind of final cutscene was pretty damn awesome, Jez. You know the one I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
That was pretty amazing.
The CGI cinematic, just the war cinematic. I actually genuinely believe, like, objectively speaking, I think that war cinematic, I think it's like maybe like 7 minutes long or more. I think that's one of the best cinematics in gaming history.
It was really good.
It's absolutely amazing.
But then it's like, okay, so I finished it, and then I did the capstone dungeon, got to World Tier 3, did the boss, and I realized it was like, all right, well, now the game just wants me to grind dungeons or whatever to get to level 70, and then go up to another tier and just do that to level 100. And I just don't really want to do that. It's the same thing with Destiny. I just didn't want to, all right, time to run this raid 3 times a week on all my characters and run all this stuff every single week just to get better gear so I can beat it's just, I don't, like that sort of stuff just doesn't interest me. And that's not attacking anybody like Jez or anybody in the chat who finds that fun, different strokes for different folks. If everybody liked the same thing, it'd be a boring world. It'd be a boring podcast. So for me, as I've always explained, if you guys have been here a while, I continuously like to begin new experiences, whether it's reading new books or playing new games. So it's like, I played Diablo for 30 hours, and I'm going to move on to Final Fantasy 16, which I'm playing now. And I'll beat Final Fantasy 16, and I'll go play something else that I, haven't played, like Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, or any of the new games, like Atlas Fallen or Immortals of Avium or whatever. Because I sort of feel, I don't know, I just don't want to be stuck playing one game. And I've been like that because I put like 900 hours into PUBG, back 2017 to like 2019, 2020, and I, there's some games I missed out on, and even I didn't finish Final Fantasy VII Remake, and even though I wanted to, because I was so thoroughly addicted to Warzone that it was like, it was all I could think about. And it was like, by the time we were done with Warzone, I didn't go back to Final Fantasy. So for me, yeah, I just, because I've watched some of Mav streams with Pong So, and they're doing these like level 36 dungeons or whatever the hell they are, and I'm like, yeah, this looks cool, but it's not something personally that I would enjoy. And then someone asked like, oh, are you just going to stop playing Starfield after the main campaign? I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with Starfield, honestly. I mean, obviously I'll beat the main campaign, but I'm going to explore. I don't know how many of the game's systems I'm actually going to interact with. As you guys know, I'm not a very creative person, so like shipbuilding is probably, I'm not going to build my own ship. I'll probably maybe follow blueprints or whatever. Maybe people will post something online as like, oh, look at this cool ship, but I don't really see myself building something like that. And I don't really see myself building outposts. That's not fun. So I'm not going to do it. But the gunplay looks fun. I do like exploring to a certain bit. Like, I'm the type of person who play Final Fantasy 16 and do everything, like all the side quests before, that's kind of how I always went through. It's like I go through an area, do all the side quests, do the main quest, rinse, repeat. I didn't do it with Diablo because there's just too many of them, and everybody told me not to do it because you're just wasting time and XP, so I didn't bother. So that's kind of with Starfield. Yeah, I mean, I'll do probably all the missions in the game, try to do as many side quests as I want, maybe try to explore a little bit, land on different planets and stuff, but some of the systems I'm not going to interact with very much. And
I think like the thing about Starfield's systems, like the base building and the Flyin, all that's going to be completely optional. Like,
sure.
You can play like Fallout 4. If Fallout 4 is like the closest allegory to it, because Skyrim's house mechanics were pretty limited, and I think it was even a DLC. I don't even know if it launched with that. But Fallout 4, obviously, a big part of Fallout 4 was building your settlement, right? You didn't have to do it. And you didn't really get anything special for doing it. But like, if you build, you'll get a basic ship for free, which will let you engage with the dynamic quests that happen as a result of flying between planets or whatever, and shit hit the fan, and you'll be able to experience some of it doing that. But I think like when it comes to if you want to do some of the stuff, like, I don't know, they showed capital ships, like these bigger military kind of ships. I suppose like I think one of them was like a level 100 ship. You want to like raid and take over a level 100 ship? Yeah, you probably are going to have to grind some materials to build a bigger ship and get them blueprints and actually like look into how the shipbuilding works a little bit. But if you're just there for the story and the campaign, like Fallout or Skyrim or whatever, and you just want to play it that way, you're going to be able to, and you're still going to be able to like get hundreds of hours of gameplay out of it without engaging all those other systems. I suppose it's ultimately about what kind of star citizen you want to be. Not to mention the game that'll never be finished, but you much like in real life, not everyone wants to be a space pilot, right? Maybe they just want to, work in a space office or something like that, or work in space retail. Do you want to work in space retail, Rand?
Yeah.
You could be like a space
I'm
retail.
just saying, like, everybody can enjoy their games how they want to enjoy them. I'll enjoy my way, you enjoy your way, Jez is going to be playing Diablo on the podcast for the foreseeable future. He's going to try to get level 100, and I love that for him. That's just not me, right?
I need to kill Uber Lilith. I won't be happy with myself. And I just got my first unique drop live on the stream. See, this is the shit I live for, man. I just got my first unique, and what is it?
It's probably something you're not even really using.
It's pretty lame, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. Lame stuff.
It looks cool though. So it's for a build that I'm not using. It's for a blood build, but I can get it for transmog, and it looks amazing. It's I don't know if you've seen it. It's that chest piece that like it looks like all your guts are hanging out.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, the armor designs in this game are absolutely completely insane. But yeah, so I got the transmog, even though I'm not going to use the affix on it. But yeah, this is what I live for. It's just meditative, you know. I love games where I can just turn my brain off, you know. And I think Diablo is absolutely one of those kind of games. You can just mow down dozens and dozens of monsters and not really think too much about it. But see, different strokes for different folks.
Boba Fett says, Rand, you need to get gear in tier 3 and 4 to continue feeling and invest Paragon points, but level 70 that slows down. I mean, look, if Diablo was the only game out there to play, I probably would. But you see how many games are coming out? There's just like no time. I want to play them all. I want to play Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, and I want to play Starfield, and I want to play Lies of P, and I want to play Atlas Fallen, I want to play Immortals of Avrium, I want to play Oxenfree 2, I want to play, you know, like just
you want to play City Skylines 2.
That's not my type of game, but there's just so much. There's just so much. Lede says, Phil said some Bethesda games will be multi-platform. Which ones? He did mention that. I mean, we've already seen, right? Quake, the remaster from last year or the year before, was multi-platform. There's a listing for Quake 2 already.
Remastered, yeah.
Yeah, which that's going to be multi-platform because it probably makes sense. And honestly, ZeniMax Online's game that we know they're making, it's a big AAA production. They've been working on it for 4 or 5 years. I would not be shocked if that's also multi-platform, especially if it's some sort of MMO type experience, right? Yeah. I would not be surprised if that's multi-platform. So it is a case-by-case basis. It's not like everything de facto is exclusive. You know, it'll be like they'll look at it, you know, Quake. All right, well, we're doing Quake 1 and 2 remaster. Whatever, let's do it everywhere. Let's just put it on everything. Okay, ZeniMax Online, let's put that multi-platform. It makes the most sense for, if it is an MMO, it would make the most sense to be everywhere. So, yeah. And then even Phil didn't even answer the question about, you know, Elder Scrolls. Like, it's too early to know. He doesn't even know what Microsoft systems it will be on. I think he's been a little core there, so like it'll probably be on like the Xbox Series X and S, and then whatever the new one is. But his point was that it's so far in the future, nothing has been even decided yet, right? Because the FTC is trying to like bring up these points that, you know, there's like immediate harm. Because the FTC, to get the injunction, kind of needs to prove that there's the market, which is why they went after the Switch and how the Switch isn't really competitive or in the same market that the Xbox and PlayStation is, right? Even though it is, because even though like they compete for the same money and stuff. Like, of course, they're part of the same market, but the FTC is like, oh no, it's the what do they call it? Jez, what's the
high-end?
The high-end markets. Like, it's not the same because if it's part of the same market, well, then their whole argument is just dead, right? So they try to position it as like, no, Xbox and PlayStation are a different market. So, and then not only that, but they're trying to also prove that there's immediate harm to PlayStation and, you know, consumers essentially. You know, they try to, you know, basically try to say that, you know, Xbox doesn't honor their contracts. They're kind of trying to nail that home, and that's why Xbox they've always been like, no, we honor the contracts. Look at this X, Y, and Z. Look at what Sony's been trying to do to us, and we just had to respond to protect our business. And that's why it was pretty big to get Phil to actually swear under oath that he's not removing Call of Duty from PlayStation, because that removes the immediate harm factor from the merger immediately. When you have the CEO of gaming basically saying, I'm swearing under oath in lieu of perjury and jail time that we are not going to remove Call of Duty from PlayStation as long as PlayStation allows us to put the game on there. Because the judge was very much like, asked him that, will you swear under oath? And Phil said yes. So that kind of throws the whole idea of, well, this merger is going to cause immediate harm, therefore I need to file an injunction to stop it, right?
Phil was very sort of, the fact that Phil just leapt straight into that without even considering the consequences, I think that's a pivotal.
Well, to be fair, like, Phil's not going to be at Xbox forever, right? And it's not, if we assume someone like Sarah Bond takes over in the future, I mean, Sarah Bond didn't testify under oath that Call of Duty ain't I don't think Call of Duty is going anywhere.
He was speaking on behalf of.
Yeah, can you speak on behalf of a company that you're not going to be a part of at some point? Like, let's be honest. Like, Phil's not going to be there forever. Can Phil?
Yes, he is.
Well, we may like it if Phil's there forever, but I'm just saying he's not going to. So how can you speak for a company when you're not going to be there after a certain point, right?
Well, I suppose.
But the whole point is,
I'm sure there's a legal argument that could be made that Phil swore under oath and then blah blah blah. I don't know.
But the whole point is, like,
even still, it'd be a legal headache, like for someone if Phil wasn't sincere, basically.
Exactly, but it's like about immediate harm, and the FTC hasn't proven anything. And I hate the fact that the FTC was talking about how like it's bad that Xbox got exclusives and all this sort of stuff, making it seem like, exclusive. But they never mentioned Nintendo or PlayStation. And granted, obviously, we know why. But it was like this whole thing was like bad somehow that like Indiana Jones is now exclusive and that Xbox has exclusives and stuff. It's like this horrible, monstrous thing, They
talked about like, they literally said, how terrible would it be if Xbox had skins for Call of Duty that were exclusive? And it's like, bro, are you for real? You're arguing in favor of the deal here because that's exactly what PlayStation has been doing since 2013.
That's the ignorance that we were talking about. These people don't know. They're essentially college students, and they were like, "Oh shit, it's right here, right now. We need to come up with something on a subject matter we know nothing about. Oh, we need to cram night before," and they come up with these ridiculous arguments because they've been listening to Lyin, crying, Flyin, Jim Dance Move, Saving Private Ryan for so long. He's been whispering in their ears about these things, about high-end console market and the immediate harm PlayStation will have an effect and all this sort of stuff. That they just basically, it was like, well, Jim's not going to lie to us. And it's like they thought everything he said was true. And now, when they actually get into this situation, it's like, wow, not only did they come across completely unprepared for this, but they come across as just lacking any sort of knowledge about the thing they're trying to argue against. It's
lacking a brain.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll be talking more about that. Let's see. We have one here from Mr. Too Opinionated. Rand, do you season your food? That's a. Why is this a question? I mean, I'm going to answer it because I'll answer a question, but is this going to give you some sort of insight into my psyche, into my gaming habits? Do I season my food?
Fair question.
The answer is no, I don't. I don't season my food. When I have chicken, it's plain. When I have a burger, I might get cheese on it, maybe ketchup depending on it, but no, I don't season stuff.
Well, you don't put salt and pepper on things?
No, I don't.
Why?
What do you mean why?
Why not?
What do you mean why?
What is wrong with you?
There's nothing wrong with me. I'm sure there's other people here that don't season their food. What does that explain? Like, does that now, like, do you understand Rand now, or something? Because look, I'm sure I'm watching chat now, and I'm gonna see everybody all be like, "Wait, no salt and pepper and none of this stuff on your food? Oh my God, Rand! Oh, how could this?" Right? Look, and it's already going off. Look at all this stuff. They can't believe it. What's wrong with this?
I can't believe it. I am like severely triggered right now. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
John G says, no wonder he doesn't finish games. Dude is a blend, laughing my ass off. I finish games all the time. What are you talking about?
He's mixing us up, I think. I'm the one that doesn't finish games. Apparently.
Jez, you have me mistaken with Jez. I only really play games that I finish. When I start a game, I finish it. Now, you may be like, well, Diablo's not done till you reach level 100. Fuck that. Diablo's done. Campaign's over. Credits rolled. It's finished.
Do you ever use hot sauce?
I do not like hot things. Like, all right.
What's the shit sauce?
No. Okay. So when we get, like, wings, like, say, from Wingstop or whatever, I get them plain.
Plain?
I don't like even mild is too hot.
What?
Too hot for me. I don't know. I just don't like it. I just don't like it, man.
What?
That's not to say I wouldn't use A1 sauce on steak or something, because I would if it was there.
Fine.
Look, look what you did. No, this is Mr. Too Opinionated. Bro, that's just me, man.
Oh man. Okay, well, you learn something new every day, and today I learned that Rand just has terrible ass taste.
Bro,
it's fine.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Now I feel now I'm self-conscious about my eating habits. I got the entire chat. Whenever I could handle Randall hipster stuff because I know it's not true. Now I literally you have all my subscribers. You've all turned against me, all simply over about how. Look what happened, bro.
I just don't understand. Like, you don't like salt? What is it about
salt's
salt?
Fine.
What? But you don't season things with salt? Do you
put
salt on fries?
Nelfun Gaming says he's with me. He doesn't,
Okay, congrats.
Yes,
you got one person. You got one single damn person. Congrats. Oh, man. Wow. Okay.
Look, I don't know. This is how I've just been my whole life. I like ketchup. I hate mustard. I hate mayonnaise. Salt is fine, although I don't go out of my way to put salt on there. Pepper, not really a fan of. I don't know. I just don't really care. Hot sauce. I don't like hot sauce. I don't like hot food. Like, it just... I get sick when I have it. So when I have, like, hot wings or something, I don't feel good afterwards.
But, dude, it doesn't matter if you don't feel good. Like I told you, I got a sensitive stomach, right? But sometimes you just gotta accept that you're not gonna feel good, man.
I'm sorry. Okay, look, I apologize to everybody here who I've offended with my plain taste. Okay, that the fact that I would order wings and get them completely plain, or I get a hamburger without seasoning it, or if I get a chicken without any seasoning or whatever, or steak. I apologize for my plebeian taste. I'm sorry. Call me Blandal Thor or something. Whatever. Or Randall Bland or something.
Blandal Thor. Man, I'm crying. I'm literally crying right now.
Manny says the man with bland food. The man with the bland food.
I'm crying, man.
Dude, I've never seen so many people just come out of nowhere and just be disgusted about something.
Okay, well, that's that podcast derailed.
Yeah, I know, right? If you're listening to this later in the comments section, do you stand with me, or are you against me?
Man, I don't even know what to say.
Go ahead and snitch to Umbra. Let them know. Maybe Umbra needs to have to take me out so I can get some real Chicago fruit or something. Who would have thought that a person's preference for how they like their food would come under such fire?
Scrutiny.
Look, I'm looking at now. I've lost 300 subscribers, Jez, over this.
For real?
No, I don't know.
That'd be funny if you did.
But like, what? He doesn't season his food? A heathen.
Unsubscribe.
And an Addict Dream says, you do you, Rand. Who cares what people think? That's right. I'm going to keep on doing me. And when I get a hot dog, I'm just going to only put ketchup on it. Well, maybe onions, because I do like onions. But that's it. No relish, no mustard, none of that stuff. Same thing with hamburgers. Just cheese and ketchup. Well, most of the time, just cheese. Because I don't even bother getting the ketchup. We get a steak, you know what? Just plain. No seasoning, no nothing. Although, when I do cook a steak...
Please stop.
Dude, John RPG,
you're
Bland
the children.
Thor, the Grand Bip says Rand is now officially more British than Jez. Juan says no salt or pepper. This is not the dark Rand that I was expecting. Hey, you never know what sort of dark Rand you're going to get, so you have to accept this one. Chief Gaming, Turn 10 in Playground Games announced a few hours ago. Servers for Horizon 1 and 2 are shutting down August 22nd. Sad, but it was bound to happen eventually. Yeah. It kind of sucks. I mean,
that's the problem with service games, I guess.
Well, Horizon 1's not really a service game, though. Horizon 1 was very different than the other Horizon games. 2 was more of a service game. Obviously, 3, 4, and 5 are much more of a live service stuff. But, I mean, Horizon 1 came out in 2012. I'm surprised the servers are even still up. Same thing with 2, really. And they're also delisted, by the way. You can't buy Horizon 1 or 2, or 3 for that matter. So, yeah, it was only a matter of time. Thanero says, Rand, come to the South. You need to eat some real food for real. Yeah. Mr. Two Opinion, it says, I was being judgmental because of your Starfield take. I'm sorry a little bit. What's so wrong with my Starfield take? That I'm going to play the campaign and do all the quests that I possibly can and maybe do some extra exploring but not interact with all the different systems because that's not the type of person I am. And suddenly it's like I killed someone's kid or something. Or the fact that I said I'm done with Diablo after reaching, level 50. And you know what? If Mike Ybarra was in this chat, I'd tell it to his face too. I'd be like, I'm done with your game. God.
Rand can't cook.
Darge Knight, no seasoning, Rand. You're not of this earth, sir. Jeez, who'd have thought this would be what angers people so? Raj, I'm sure Redfall's coming to PlayStation. Probably not. If I was PlayStation, I wouldn't want that game. Why would you want that game if you're PlayStation? Roland says, appreciate the man with the million and the man with the canned beans. And shout out to my Xbox homies in the hood, Johnny and Yogi. Shout out to Johnny and Yogi. Aramik says, man, I don't have enough popcorn for this trial. Cannot wait for Hoax coverage later. Ready for my Final Fantasy 16 weekend. Have a great weekend too, fellas. Yeah, I can't wait to continue on with Final Fantasy 16 as well.
There's some mixed opinions going around about that game.
Yeah.
Do you have any initial impressions on it?
Yeah, so I've only gotten to play about 4 or 5 hours so far. And what do I say about it? Visually looks amazing.
Rand is speechless.
Visually looks amazing, right? It's also another game that has a pretty crappy performance mode for the most part.
Is this becoming a trend now with crappy performance mode?
I don't know. But I will say, not really a Final Fantasy game. This is more like if Devil May Cry was 50 hours long and had a really involved cutscenes and stories. Because this game's not an RPG at all, period. End of story. Anybody that sort of says it's an RPG, at least, 5 hours in, so I don't know how it gets on. This is not. This is an action game. Through and through. With a ton of cutscenes and story stuff. And as of right now, story seems pretty interesting. Right? The way they set it up. You play as Clive. Just, in like a couple different time periods of his life. And it's very interesting to see how they've taken Final Fantasy into this action-orientated state because, yeah, like what you thought of with Final Fantasy in the past with parties and like how you there's like no elemental effects in the combat. It's very much just an action game, which some people will love and some people won't. And yeah, the combat is a lot of fun right now. Although it's a little on the basic end, I noticed that you really only have 2 combos. Square, like 4-hit square button. Now you can use like square, triangle to amplify it with magic, but there's no like square, pause, square, or like square, triangle, square, like other action games like that to pull off many different types of combos. There's only really one, but then they have all these different sort of special moves that you can trigger by holding down a button and like pressing triangle or circle to amplify and do flashy sort of attacks. And I think that's supposed to be where the variation comes in. So like the combat itself isn't the most in depth, at least right now. I don't know if you actually get more combos later on. But I will say that currently I am enjoying the story that's being told. It is a lot of cutscenes. You will be like, all right, I have control of Clive. I walk 5 feet, and there's a cutscene. And some of the cutscenes and some of the stuff are way better than some of the others. You can definitely tell where some of the money went and then where some of the money didn't go. Right? Where it's very apparent. It's like, wow, that looks really good. And then you get to something else, and it's like, that kind of doesn't. Right? But when it looks good, it looks freaking amazing. And then when it kind of doesn't, and it kind of looks kind of bad. So we'll see how the game continues on. But yeah, this is not your typical. It doesn't seem controversial. It seemed the reviewers loved it.
Well, the first wave of reviewers loved it, but now like you've got some YouTubers who take a little bit more time with their reviews, like Skill Up, and they haven't got all completely glowing things to say about it. Now, I'm pretty avowed, turn-based Final Fantasy guy. So, like, even Final Fantasy VII not being turn-based raised eyebrows with me. But I actually warmed to Final Fantasy VII. I thought it was a good compromise between active combat, and they still had some tactical elements in there, and they still had the party in there. So, like, it was like, I thought it was handled pretty well. Like, it kind of felt almost like playing Dragon Age Inquisition, or maybe even more like Dragon Age 2 or something, playing as Fenris as your main sort of control character. But it seems like they've just completely abandoned that whole tradition now with this new game, which doesn't sit well with me as someone who, has so much nostalgia for what Final Fantasy used to be. But at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I don't really care. I don't really care that much about Final Fantasy anymore. Like, I haven't enjoyed Final Fantasy that much since Final Fantasy X, being completely honest. I didn't really like Final Fantasy 12. I hated Final Fantasy 11. I didn't really like Final Fantasy 13. I didn't really like Final Fantasy 14. And I didn't really like Final Fantasy 15. So, like, that kind of nostalgia that I'm clinging onto, which is Final Fantasy 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it's just kind of gone. It's just kind of over. I think I just need to accept that the franchise just isn't for me anymore.
Yeah.
But to Square Enix's credit, they're carrying on the legacy with Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default, which do seem to be more like the kind of games that I'd enjoy. And, I've been playing Octopath Traveler 1, and apparently Octopath Traveler 2 is way better as well, so I do want to get on and play that at some point. But yeah, I think I just need to accept that Final Fantasy is just not for me anymore, because it just doesn't look that interesting. I don't know.
I mean, we'll see. I'm only like 4 or 5 hours in. We'll see how it progresses for the rest of the game, right? I only got to play it for a little bit before doing the show, so that's what I'm playing next. I'll play it over the weekend and next week and see how much more it evolves. I don't really think it's going to evolve very much because it doesn't really seem like right now it's a lot of the very also beginning, the first like the whole beginning 2-3 hours is very much all tutorial based stuff. Introducing you to concepts, introducing you to certain things and whatnot. So we'll see if like it expands out, but something tells me it's not going to. Like it looks like you'll get more abilities that you can then kind of switch in between at any point in time to like. But I will say, like right now, combat is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to get into stuff, and you even got a dog, Torgal, that you can kind of send out to attack. So that's kind of cool. There's a lot of things, and then they offer also a lot of accessibility stuff. There's like things you can equip that let you automatically evade attacks, which would obviously make the game super easy, or let you pull off incredibly stunning combos by just pressing square, or actually not having to control Torgal and it'll automatically do it for you. So there's, if you're worried about difficulty, because some of the previous Final Fantasy games could be difficult if you didn't grind, or if you didn't have good party composition and stuff like that. Seems like this one, they went like, we want everybody to play it. So if you want to do cool, flashy stuff, you can do that. If you never want to get hit, you can do that too, right? Yeah. So we have Darksia, member for 46 months, says, was a pleasure to help. Thank you. JD Gamer, so Final Fantasy, what is that? 6 is essentially a modern... Final Fantasy 16 is essentially a modern action versus RPG version of Lost Odyssey. I mean, Final Fantasy 16 is an action game through and through. There's hardly any RPG in it, at least right now. That may change, but it is definitely just, hey, imagine if we made Devil May Cry kind of toned it down a little bit with some of the combos and just had a whole bunch of cutscenes and story, and that's what it would be. Sean says Phil needs to take away this man's gamer. Now they're coming after my gamer score. Now they're coming after my gamer score. Like I don't deserve it because I don't put salt and pepper on my broccoli or something. Seriously, dude, this is out of control now.
I'm still bothered about it personally. I'm trying to get through it, Rand. I'm trying.
You're not bothered by it. You're over there clicking on Diablo IV.
I'm sorry. You eat broccoli without any seasoning on? Like,
well, what?
I'm trying to get through it. I'm telling you, it's okay. We'll get through it together.
Whatever. Angry Hippie says, at least you don't eat doughy lasagna and call it pizza, right? No, I don't do that. At least I don't think I do that. Enigmatic Dream says, I'm from Chicago. No ketchup. That's the rule. Well, no, ketchup on everything, bro. I'm sorry. We have to disagree on that.
Seasoning, kind of.
Ketchup. Ketchup is the best. Crazy G, gonna love Jez trying to put timestamps in now. Yeah, he's probably not even paying attention to that. It'll just be like one long.
We have a timestamp for Rand hates seasoning, so don't you worry about that.
Jesus, really?
Yes, we have a timestamp for that whole discourse, so don't you worry about that, friendo.
Jack says, what about Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts? I don't know. I mean, I haven't played Kingdom Hearts in a long time. I played 2, but I haven't played 3.
Kingdom Hearts just doesn't appeal to me. It's the Disney stuff. I'm not interested, personally. I don't begrudge people that are into it, and I've got a lot of good friends that are really into it, but it's just not for me. Sadly,
man, that coming from my gamer score. This is absurd. All right, you know what? Let's get into some of the interesting, spicy stuff. But I figured let's talk about the bad news first, really quickly. Okay.
Bad news.
Let's talk about
what's the bad news?
The bad news. Talk about Xbox raising prices.
Oh yes, Xbox raised prices.
Yeah, Xbox decided to raise prices. Game Pass console up $1 from $9.99 a month to $10.99 a month, and then Game Pass Ultimate up from $14.99 to $16.99. PC Game Pass didn't see an increase, and they raised the price of their consoles pretty much in virtually every market that PlayStation did, except in the US and some other ones. So Series X is $500 here, but in other places it's like Canada, it's like $799, and in Europe it's higher, and all these sort of things, right?
I think when Sony raised their prices, I think me and you were basically like, Microsoft's gonna do this eventually too, right?
Sure, I mean, we knew that it was only a matter of time before they would raise the price of.
I'm surprised it took this long, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, the Game Pass thing, $1, whatever, but. Like, look, at the end of the day, I made fun of PlayStation for raising the prices, especially during a recession, just because they could, and it didn't really affect them at all, right? People bought the PlayStation 5 in droves. So here we have Microsoft, trillion-dollar company, doing the same. Granted, they held off longer. And I did see people say, why isn't there more outrage for this? Well, it's because Sony took all the outrage first. That's what happens usually when you do something bad, and you're the first company to announce something bad. They'll get all the blame. And then when another company does the same thing, people are sort of over their anger and stuff, right? So that's why Microsoft didn't get a lot of the same furor that Xbox did, because everybody got it out of their system with PlayStation and just assumed Xbox would follow suit eventually, which, I mean, Phil said they did. Phil said they would. He said in that interview, like, end of last year, hey, we held on our prices of our games, subscriptions, and consoles, and, you know, we won't always be able to do that. And what they do, they raised prices on everything. Their games are $70 now for the ones that really need it, although you could make the argument, why the hell was Redfall $70? That game should have been $30. It was definitely not a $70 product. Starfield $70, and then future big titles are probably $70 as well. And then, look, it's funny because Microsoft just puts on a showcase for the ages. that a lot of people agree was their best showcase maybe ever, at least especially in the last 5 years, definitely of this whole generation. And everybody's super excited about the future, super pumped to finally play what looks like game of the generation Starfield and all the games from 2024 like Hellblade and Avowed, and Fable looks great, and you have all these other games, and right, and now you're trying to acquire ABK, so like, man, future looking good, looking better than it ever has, right? And Microsoft, they couldn't let that happiness and that content feeling last. It's just like, all right, guess what? You all enjoyed that showcase, right? You like the future of Xbox? Now pay up, bitches. I mean, that's kind of was like what I got. Is like, yeah, okay, well now you're paying for it. Oh, by the way, you guys were complaining that the Xbox Series X was out of stock. Well, guess what? It's back in stock, and you're paying for it now. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, there's that whole thing.
I mean,
go ahead.
There is a kind of cynicism there that it's like, yeah, they waited until after the showcase to do this. And I think that's also part of why the reactions have been a bit muted, because it's like, well, you know, we're still kind of riding that high at the moment. And also, like you said, Sony took all the flack for it. And the fact that Sony did it kind of informed you that eventually Xbox would do it as well. You know, you're going to get like, there's also this kind of argument that if the PlayStation's more expensive on the store shelf and the Xbox is cheaper, does that create the brand awareness, the brand identity that Xbox is somehow worth less than PlayStation? You know, I'm not saying that's a good reason to raise the price, but that has to be an aspect to it to some degree, maybe. But yeah, it's just kind of cynical that this happened after the showcase, where, you know, they knew it'd be less of a blow, I guess.
Freebar says the price changes over ABK. They may not be able to raise prices for years, possibly. I don't season my food either. I feel better for it. Oh boy, I use ketchup too. Look, I also sort of feel like, because Microsoft said they wouldn't raise prices after the acquisition, and they were having the FTC hearing. So how do you hold true to that? Well, guess what? You can't claim you raise the prices before the acquisition goes through. So you can't claim it. So nobody can claim that you raise prices because of the acquisition, because that's what some regulators were concerned about raising prices and stuff. It's like, well, you can't make those arguments if we raise the prices beforehand. So it sucks, because here you have the Xbox Series X. 3 years in, stuff is supposed to get cheaper. Stuff is not supposed to get more expensive. And it's only getting more expensive. Hell, they just introduced a Series S that's more expensive than it currently is. So products are only getting more expensive. They're a $1 trillion company that can clearly afford it, although they always lay off people, whatever. And it's like, yeah, I don't think it's a good... Especially when your stated goal is to reach 3 billion gamers, but you're erecting more barriers to actually reach those people. It's kind of like, look, I get it. You're going to say economics. You're going to say all that sort of stuff to justify... whatever. I'm just not happy about it. And yeah, it was only a matter of time before they did it for Game Pass, and $1 isn't like be all end all. But not everybody has the resources, right? Not everybody has disposable income. So only you can determine whether or not $1 increase or a $2 increase is within your budget. And if it's not, and you want to unsubscribe, then unsubscribe. I always say if you're not really enjoying the content and you're not using it, do what's best for you. Right? Because don't worry what's best for Microsoft, because they will always put their pocketbooks ahead of everybody. And it doesn't matter at the end of the day where you can go down to LA and you can rub shoulders with Phil and Sarah Bond and all the people at Xbox, and they're loving, caring people. And that's true. But Microsoft as a corporation couldn't give two shits about any of us. They couldn't care about Jez. They don't care about me. They don't care about anybody. All they care about is their shareholders and their profit margins and all that stuff. Phil may care. Phil may deeply care, but the corporation doesn't. Keep that in mind. They're not your friends. They never will be your friends. The corporation, that is. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and cheer for corporation raising prices. And it's not even like Game Pass has gotten... It's not even like Game Pass is significantly better anyways. It's like you look at it this year and it's like, you justify $1? Whatever. So... That's kind of my thoughts on it. It's like they did it because
it's kind of interesting that PC Game Pass didn't get a price increase, right?
Yeah, which says to me that they feel that console Game Pass is sort of maxed out, so now it's about extracting value, whereas PC Game Pass still has a lot of room for growth, so they're going to keep the price the same. So that's...
And also PC Game Pass competes hard with Steam sales, which, by the way, there's currently a Steam sale going on, and it's, predictably absurd. And there's a GOG, Good Old Games sale as well, which is also absurd. It's kind of like, well, it's so easy to own games on PC that PC Game Pass almost feels redundant in some ways.
Yeah. Plus,
so I guess that they have to compete with that. They
plus,
have to compete with Steam.
We do have the family plan coming for Game Pass. So
yeah, where is that?
Yeah, where is that? Where is that, Jez?
I should offer an update. Well, it's not really an update, but on our Patreon, I asked people to give me questions to put to Microsoft as I was going to LA. And one of the things that the Patreons asked a lot was, where is the family plan? And I got hit with a no comment. So
ooh, a good old no comment. What does that mean?
Good old no comment. I don't know. I suppose they're still exploring it, still researching it and stuff. Maybe it's being held up by FTC hearings. They don't want to make a move on it or something like that. But clearly they're looking into it because it's already available in like a couple of territories. But it seems like they're collecting data on how it could impact user behavior and stuff. But it's quite interesting though that I think it was you that was linking this to me, Rand. That like a lot of people were expecting Netflix's subscriber count to go down when they stopped password sharing.
Yeah,
but it's actually gone up.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of people who as part of the Netflix password clampdown, they have gone out and bought extra accounts and stuff like that. So maybe that's also something Microsoft's analyzing right now. Kind of like, well, we don't want to share, we don't want to give away too much sharing because that could hit our profitability, And if like there's more people playing the games but not necessarily paying for it, that also lowers the profitability potentially. So yeah, I suppose there's a lot of analysis going on, and we'll just have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, should still be on the way in some form.
So yeah, it's shit. Whatever. They raise the prices. Now I'm kind of wondering if they do a mid-gen refresh, how expensive it's going to be. Because if you're still selling the Series X in 2023 at $550 and hasn't seen a price, I don't think the Nintendo Switch saw a price drop the entire generation. And it's like,
no. Well, they got the Nintendo.
Well, yeah, they have the
Nintendo Switch Lite.
They made a whole different SKU, like the Series S. But it just goes to show you, it's like, it's because it's one thing for PlayStation to do it because they're the market leader, right? It's another thing for what essentially Xbox has admitted as third place, and that's another thing from this whole trial. Did you see a lot of the companies, a lot of websites like Xbox admits they lost the console war? It's like, yeah, no shit. Where have you been? Have you not been paying attention for since 2013? Like, of course they lost the console. Did you not pay attention when Phil Spencer literally said that during his Kind of Funny interview, where he mentioned you can't out-console Sony and Nintendo? Like, hello? This isn't like new news. They've literally been in third place, 3 of their 4 generations? And the only reason why they won, or technically tied one generation, is because PlayStation got so arrogant they thought people would buy $700, $600 systems for Blu-ray that was horrible for developers to make games on. And Microsoft lucked out at the time by, making good deals and stuff. But hello, yeah, they lost the console war a long time ago, and them admitting it in court is some like, oh my God, did you see that? They said they lost. Yeah, no shit. Where have you been? Hello, like, yeah, they're third place. We've known this for a long time. Surprise. Like, I don't understand why that was such a big thing, especially after what Phil said last month.
Got a lot of clicks.
Sure.
That article with that
a lot
headline.
of clicks.
Got a lot of clicks.
A lot of clicks. You even see some of that situation play out when you see articles like, what was the one that you shared with me? It was Microsoft kills Indiana Jones for PlayStation.
Oh yeah.
where it's presented as this awful thing because it delves into outrage clicks. You got to get people outraged, like PlayStation guys are going to click on that because how dare Microsoft kill Redfall? How dare Microsoft kill Indiana Jones and not bring it to our platform? But when Sony makes what we would call business deals to stop games from going to other platforms, everybody's okay with that. And it's presented much differently than it is with Xbox buying Bethesda, right? Like, wording matters in articles and those sort of things because it presents, a narrative. It's just funny to see sometimes that even these big websites, they'll delve into the console war for those clicks because that's what pays the bills, right?
I think this is what irritates me about the FTC's position. They're coming at this. They're coming at it with a mentality that's kind of like almost like we have to and we should protect PlayStation because that's the obvious choice. It's almost like there's no real logic behind the way they're doing it. It's almost like it's just like that. That's the default. The default is protect PlayStation. That's kind of what it feels like. And I don't know how they've arrived at this sort of conclusion that PlayStation's market leadership position needs to be protected at all costs. I don't know where that comes from. It's very, very strange. I think like a regulator should be open to disruption because disruption's how potentially you get lower prices and affordability for consumers. Game Pass is that disruption. The fact that I can get Starfield for $10, if I subscribe, then that is good disruption. That's an example of innovation leading to benefits for consumers. And I don't know why they're so enamored with the status quo. I just really don't get it. But but you see journalists doing this too. It's like, if Xbox does it, it's bad. But if PlayStation does it, it's okay. Because that's that's just the common sense. That's the common sense position to have. A PlayStation good, Xbox bad. It's weird. It is weird and interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Apparently, the judge in the case is getting super fed up with the FTC's line of questioning. Just sort of happened. She shut them down basically 2 times in a row or something. Because I guess Phil's still on the stand taking some questions.
Poor Phil, he's been there for quite a while, man.
So like, someone says, the FTC says, so this ABK deal would take you out of the 3rd place in the market, right? And Phil says, that is not our goal. No, we want to expand into mobile. So the FTC says, so it's a write-off? Phil's like, huh? FTC goes, your business is a write-off? Phil goes, I don't get what you're saying. And the FTC says, let's move on. Like, what? I mean, like, we're obviously live doing the show and people are sending me stuff the whole time, but
it's so strange.
Like, it is so odd that the FCC's sole mission seems to be protect Sony at all costs, doesn't it? Or am I just crazy? I don't know.
It is weird. It's almost like they're just working for Sony. Like there's no examination of how the deal could be good in any capacity. It is so strange. It is so weird. And this is why I'm not willing to be out here saying the deal's definitely going through because I feel like the system just doesn't work. I mean, this whole ordeal is just bizarre to me. It's just so bizarre.
So the FTC lawyer wanted Phil to also make a commitment under oath for making games available on the cloud, but the judge cut it off by saying she doesn't need that.
That's hilarious.
Because they're trying to push back because they're basically trying to push back and sort of say, well, you can't promise that Call of Duty will be here for 10 years and all this sort of stuff. Whatever. We'll have to delve more into that after the show because it's going on right now. But yikers, man. Yikers. Jeez. iSiler18, how are the Ferrari payments these days? Also, did you hear Phil confirmed Scalebound at the FTC? Yeah, I wish I had Ferrari payments. And also Scalebound, always brought up every single podcast for whatever reasons. Thaneros says, what is the reasoning for the price increases? Is it the economy, chip shortages, supply and demand? Probably all those things. It's all the same excuses that Sony used to justify their price increases. Probably also seeing that it didn't affect Sony very much, so they can probably get away with it as well. And it's just, well, we also need to do it before the acquisition because we can't do it after the acquisition because people are going to be on us. And if we ever want to acquire somebody again, it would look bad if we immediately acquired ABK and then raised prices on anything. So we're going to do it beforehand so nobody can say that it was the acquisition that did it. Aramix says, Rand, I season almost no food as well unless I'm eating wings. If you ever need a bland brother in arms to game with, I got you, fam. Hope Jez enjoys shooting fish in Starfield. Yeah. Where's all my where's all my bland brothers out there, huh?
Oh god.
Say something in chat. Say, hashtag bland. I'm a bland brother. Hashtag bland brother.
There's no one gonna reply.
Dude, there's dozens of us. There's dozens of us.
There's dozens of us.
Yes. There's definitely
bland
dozens of us. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, what do you want to talk about now? Shall we talk about all the juicy stuff that happened during the showcase? Let's talk about Indiana Jones, shall we? New exclusive for Xbox, which came out from Pete Hines' testimony during yesterday, that Bethesda's Indiana Jones game is now an Xbox console exclusive. Basically came out, they asked him if before Bethesda was acquired by Microsoft, Disney had an agreement with ZeniMax to make an Indiana Jones games for multiple consoles. But after the acquisition, Disney brought up the issue of which consoles Indiana Jones would be on. And Hines said, yeah. And that basically they later amended the Disney agreement and that Indiana Jones will be an Xbox PC exclusive and day one on Xbox Game Pass. To which Phil also, they talked a little bit about that on the thing today with Phil, where Phil mentioned that he kind of wanted a known IP to compete against Sony's Spider-Man. That it was almost kind of a tit-for-tat sort of thing. Like Sony's got this huge, well-known character IP in Spider-Man, and he felt Xbox needed to compete in that way, so they have Indiana Jones. So what do you think about that, Jez?
Well, first of all, I think it's kind of interesting because this is what I remember for the longest time. Because I used to put these surveys out. I used to put these surveys out and ask the Xbox fans what they wanted. And one of the things that always comes up is, where's Xbox's superhero game? Where's Xbox's answer to Spider-Man, essentially? And I suppose Wolverine they're also making, right? If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's interesting that they're tapped into that. And, I personally, it's hard for me because I don't give a crap about superheroes. And I like Batman, but that's where it ends. Very, very hard stop after Batman, probably. And even that, it's kind of like, I could take it or leave it. But do you think Indiana Jones really exists within that same category?
Like, is Indiana Jones as popular as Spider-Man? No, clearly not.
Yeah, I mean, Indiana Jones is it's well recognized, but it's kind of like almost a cult thing for people around our age. Like a little kid or like younger generations are going to be like, "What the hell's Indiana Jones?" Unless the new movie's a big hit, which probably isn't going to happen after judging by Indiana Jones 4, which we don't talk about. But I just want to know if it's going to be a good game at the end of the day. I'm kind of wondering, is it going to be third person or is it going to be first person? Because, Machine Games, as far as I know, has only made first person games up till now.
True.
So yeah.
I mean,
but I will say that I do like the train of thought that they want to invest in recognized IP.
Yes.
So even if Indiana Jones is not the biggest franchise next to Spider-Man, it shows that Microsoft at least gets it, and that maybe one day we could see, for a while there was this vague rumor that the Coalition might be working on Star Wars. They themselves put that rumor to bed, but there could be a world where other Disney franchises get explored for adaptations because Disney's sending out their property left, right, and center to be adapted right now. And I think in the court hearing there is even like an implication that they were doing other stuff with Disney. You know, whether that's DLC for Indiana Jones or something else, I don't know. But I don't know. I thought it was quite interesting, like the implication that they're going to be doing more stuff.
Yeah, which is also a complete sort of 180 for Microsoft and Phil Spencer in general, because they didn't really see the value of licensing before, and now maybe they look at it as more of a necessity. So it's like, okay, Indiana Jones, because I would imagine when that deal was signed with Bethesda, and it was like, hey, it's on multiple platforms, and now they amend the agreement to only be Xbox PC and Game Pass, I would imagine like there's some significant monetary, changes that Disney now, right, because like if you're expecting it to be everywhere, but now you're not putting it on PlayStation, that's a big chunk of an audience, and now you're also putting it on Game Pass, which could potentially take sales away. So I wonder if there were like monetary assurances, or did Disney get a bigger percentage of the cut? Because we don't know how Disney licenses out. Do they just be like, we get 20% of something? Is it like a flat fee? I don't know if anybody's really talked about how their licensing structure works. So I would imagine some things changed. But that's another feather in the cap. Like, it's funny because I sort of, in my video, I made fun of, hey, the PlayStation fans have been talking about this secret showcase that would redeem them and PlayStation after their very disappointing one in May, right? Talking about like, oh, just you wait for the secret showcase later in the year where we'll see factions and we'll get all these other new games, we'll get these bangers, and PlayStation will retake its rightful place. But it seemed that Xbox had the secret showcase. Because who expected this sort of information of Indiana Jones and it being announced that it's exclusive during a trial? Which maybe takes some wind out of the sails for when they actually do show it again. But it's also another thing to look forward to. Another thing that they, how everybody looked at this showcase. You look at the Keeley poll, and it's like 53% A. People really seem to like it. And they didn't even show you Perfect Dark. They didn't even show you Indiana Jones. And now Indiana Jones is exclusive and also coming to Game Pass. And that's something that we have always talked about. Like, you may not like superhero games, but superhero games like Spider-Man 2 has a very wide, broad appeal. And it makes people interested in the platform who may not even ever notice the platform. I talked about how my sister with Hogwarts Legacy wanted to get a PlayStation 5 because of Hogwarts. She doesn't care about video games, but she cares about Harry Potter. And
my girlfriend was the same way.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
And I think some things you sort of need that, right? You need that title that can go across all these demographics and get people from the mainstream to look at your console and be like, that is a game I want to play. What's this Xbox? Oh, what's Game Pass? And then you hook them with that. And Indiana Jones, obviously not on the level of Spider-Man, because what is on the level of Spider-Man? Not much, right? Spider-Man's one of like the most cultural relevant characters, not only in comic books, but in general, period. Very recognizable worldwide. And now you have Indiana Jones, and it's like that definitely will get some attention whenever that is revealed. Yeah. Whenever they do possibly show it. And we've always made that play. I was like, you know what? They should sign a deal with... That's why I always push for the idea of them buying Warner Brothers and licensing out and making a Batman game and making a Justice League game and getting a Superman or a Wonder Woman, because that would broaden Xbox's appeal to people that may not even care. So it's good to see that Xbox is sort of changing their minds on licensing stuff, and it's. I
think as the whole sort of like locking down third-party exclusives as well. I know they're developing it, so it's a little bit different, but it does seem like they're trying to be more competitive on that level as well. I think it's kind of funny because like there was almost a defeatist tone from Phil when he was on Kind of Funny. I think a little bit, maybe.
Okay.
But the moves they've been making is very much not defeatist. You know, I kind of feel like they're being a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more. Their actions have got more teeth in them than the Xbox we've known up until the ABK deal. You know, I suppose buying Bethesda was pretty competitive, but it's really taken a long ass time for that to come to fruition. And even now, we're seeing things like Redfall come out, which were in development before, and they're just sort of finishing them off and pivoting to being actually integrated, and going back to making what they should be making rather than random games that were probably a result of panicking over not having a service layer to their business. But Starfield really does look like that acquisition was a great thing. And then we got things like Hi-Fi Rush, and now Indiana Jones focusing on one platform. That's probably going to be, I imagine, pretty damn good, hopefully. And then they're probably working on Wolfenstein as well. And then you got these games, and there's just so much stuff coming. And the fact that they're talking about, like, we want to compete with PlayStation on the Spider-Man front as well, that's encouraging as well. Because obviously Disney is very, very eager to license its properties right now. Yeah. And they've got a lot of properties they could license. And Microsoft has a lot of studios that could potentially work on some of that stuff. And I think that's really, really
well,
compelling.
We also, I mean, when you talk about, Bethesda, here's a situation. I'm gonna use my swear. Well, I already used my F word, but I'm gonna use it again. Screw it. Get demonetized, they get demonetized. So,
go on then.
Bethesda acquisition was a situation of PlayStation fucking around and then finding out. And what I mean by that was, it came out in the deal that we talked about this before. PlayStation wanted to basically stifle Xbox. And they went out and they got Deathloop, and they went out and got Ghostwire Tokyo, but that's not all they wanted. They were in talks to get Starfield. And Phil said today that when he heard that was a possibility, which I would imagine people... Because I saw Benji say, I wonder who told him. Like, come on, who do you think told him? Probably goddamn Todd Howard. It's not Phil Spencer heard a rumor from Imran Khan or something, which he was the one that reported it back then about, hey, they are trying to make Starfield an exclusive. Trust me, Phil probably knew already before Imran Khan, because he has friends at Bethesda. I bet you Todd phoned up Phil and was like, you better do something because we're about to sign Starfield with PlayStation. Because it goes to show you just how much of a bad situation Bethesda was in, that they were selling their games to PlayStation, right? It's like, yeah, we'll take the money for Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, and we'll take all this money for Starfield. They were in a bad spot. So Phil's like, on the stand today, said we needed to change that. And how did they change it? They eventually acquired them because they couldn't have a scenario where Starfield doesn't come to the system, especially with their long history with Bethesda. So, like I said, it's a case of PlayStation screwing around and then eventually finding out. Very similar situation with Activision Blizzard, which... Did you see the thing where the lawyer screwed up and said Activision came to them and wanted them to bid on the marketing deal and Xbox Pass, but then it came back to them and said, if you don't give us a better revenue share, we are not going to make games for your new console? They basically leveraged the power of Call of Duty to say, hey, if you don't agree to this, we're not putting anything on your console. And it's a revenue share that PlayStation agreed to because they got all these perks, all this exclusive content within Call of Duty, right? But Xbox has to agree to it because of Sony's pure dominance and getting all the stuff that they got from it, simply to just even have the game anymore. Did you saw that stuff when Sarabon talked about it, right?
Yep, and I suppose that's really an example of why getting Call of Duty away from bad faith Kotick is ideal, really, because like that is I mean, they're a business at the same time, but that is a dick move. That is a dick move.
Well,
from them.
you know what? If you're an Activision side, it's not really a dick move. It's we're going to get what we're worth. There's not many publishers that could negotiate like that and be like, we want 80-20 instead of 70-30. But Activision could. But I mean, there's a world out there where Call of Duty is not on Xbox anymore and is a PlayStation exclusive, and it certainly seemed like Activision would have been happy with that, or else they wouldn't have played hardball to get that extra 10%. But it even goes to show you about like Phil's other comments today, which I thought were very, I mean, they're interesting, but it's sort of something we knew already because he's kind of mentioned this previously, where like here's this comment about Starfield, by the way. When we heard that Starfield was potentially also going to end up skipping Xbox, we can't be in a position as a third-place console where we fall further behind on our content ownership, so we've had to secure content and remain viable in the business. The acquisitions that Xbox is making of Bethesda and Activision Blizzard is to secure themselves from the kind of things that Sony does behind the scenes with the money that they make from Microsoft and everybody else's games. Like, it's strictly a survival play. Now, some people was like, it's bullshit, $1 trillion company. But the way it's presented is how Sony's making everything harder for Xbox, is that they had to buy Bethesda and Activision Blizzard because Sony's out here doing things behind the scenes. It's more of a survival move, right, Jez?
Yeah.
And
I mean, the very fact that they're in this position kind of, you know, in a scary way, kind of reveals the dire situation that Xbox's future viability hinges on securing this content. And one of the things, you know, someone in the industry's told me is that like the cost of acquisition for content is becoming absolutely absurd because there are all these different forces competing to get content on their platforms. Like back in the day, it was like, you know, you wouldn't have to pay to acquire content. You know, developers would just be like, yeah, we'll put the content there and stuff. And now, like all these exclusivity deals flying around left, right, and center, publishers can sort of, you know, go to the highest bidder at the end of the day. And Microsoft and Sony increasingly sort of compete in that world of acquiring content to the detriment of the other platforms or whatever. I mean, it's kind of annoying, and I think Matt Booty said in his time with the court case, I think they asked him something like, you know, what do you think of exclusives? I can't remember exactly what they asked him, but he basically said
like a
in
moat
response,
around, like a moat, right? Like it's a moat around the castle.
Yeah,
or whatever.
something like that. But he said, like, in a perfect world, nothing would be exclusive, and I think that's kind of like, you know, the position that the lamentable position that Xbox sees this in. But the thing is, I mean, that benefits Microsoft if nothing's exclusive, being in third place. But I don't know. It's a mess. It's a messy court case.
Yeah, but you love it. You love it. Phil, here's Phil's other quote. Every time we ship a game on PlayStation, Sony captures 30% of the revenue that we do on their platform, and then they use that money among other revenue that they have to do things to try to reduce Xbox survival on the market. And people are wondering why Xbox went out to acquire content and acquired Bethesda and wanted to acquire Activision Blizzard. It's to secure themselves and prevent Sony from doing exactly what, you know, essentially Activision was going to do. It's like if a game like Starfield was exclusive to PlayStation, oh bro, like how bad would that have been for Xbox? Like Phil said, as a third place console, you know, it wouldn't not have been a good look at all whatsoever. So I mean, apparently right now, going on in the case is Stadia's there. And I wonder if they're gonna talk about cloud gaming and just how hard it is. Oops, yeah, cloud gaming's hard. Like you know, and you've even mentioned you don't think cloud gaming will ever you know really catch on. At least not for a long time. I don't know.
The economics just aren't viable.
They've literally
It
spent this
costs
whole
a stupid amount of money to run the cloud gaming stuff, and then you're never going to get the scale you need because Google. You're never going to get the income you need because Google and Apple blocks how much money you can make, and then you have to pay your developers a fee as well. So the margins must be pretty much non-existent. I would be amazed if they're actually making any money on that at all.
Well,
right
Sarah
now.
Bond said that the majority, if not all, the use of xCloud is for people trying games before they download them.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody said like the judge just basically cut off the Google guy or something. I don't know.
I don't know why they're listening to Google. They're not in the market. They're not relevant. They exited of their own accord. It's not like Microsoft foreclosed Google. Google didn't even try. So I don't know why they're bothering to listen to
because the FTC didn't bother to do any sort of research. Yeah, we'll talk about all this stuff and we'll get Google in here and that'll be good enough. I don't know. You know what I think? Here's what I think sort of happened. I think the FTC thought that the CMA was going to block it and Microsoft would give up. I think they thought that they were going to wait out this whole thing and that Xbox would be forced and Microsoft would be forced to abandon the deal and they would never have to do this. I don't think they ever thought that Microsoft would be in a position, one, to maybe even ignore the CMA ruling and potentially close it to the point where, like, oh, we have to go in front of a judge and try to plead our case and get an injunction because they're clearly not prepared. And if this is something that you've been planning on for 18 months, you know, like, don't forget also, Jez, this is wasting taxpayer money. I've literally paid for this with my taxes. Or I will pay for it with my taxes, right? So it's like, this is costing us money, right? So it sort of seems to me that like maybe the FTC got caught with their pants down and they didn't think Xbox would like we continuing along with this, and they're just forced to argue for it when they never really want. And everybody who's ever talked about it says they don't really have a case, right? And there's talk about how the CMA and FTC might have colluded, right? How they had like 26 different sort of meetings or whatever, right? So there's a possibility that they thought, oh, the CMA is going to block it on cloud of all things, and that Microsoft will just give up, and then boom, we win. And that's not what's happening, essentially.
There's been practically no mention of cloud in this court case so far.
Until right now, yeah, it's all been about console harm to PlayStation.
Yeah, which supposedly isn't a thing. So it is. The whole thing is Sony. That's the whole thing hinges on the FTC wanting to do Sony's bidding. And because that is sort of a bad faith position to begin with, their arguments just fall to bits, like wet paper. But again, what I say, do you think the system works? Because
I don't know. It does seem that the judge is really fed up with the FTC, though. So, I mean, I don't know if you view that as a good or bad thing.
Seemed like the CMA was fed up with Sony, and then what happened? They blocked it for pretty much no reason.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't think the system works. We'll see.
We'll see. But we got to talk about. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things, but I want to talk about my guy. The one and only Jim. Well, hold on. I gotta get his correct vernacular here. Lyin, crying, flying, Jim, dance moves, saving Private Ryan. Because not only did he have a little taped video today that we didn't get to see, and you know what? This is a dude. This is a guy who was jetting all across the world to go to every single regulator to campaign to get the deal blocked, which I don't begrudge him. That's his job. He's the PlayStation CEO. He's looking out for number one, baby. So, like, yeah, Jim, do what you have to do. But don't get caught. Don't get caught spreading lies. And that's essentially what happened. So Jim Ryan's out here flying all around, going to Brussels, going to the UK, being like, we need to save gaming. This deal can't happen. We need to save gamers. We need to save developers in the industry. You need to block this, right? And all the regulators throughout the console harm, by the way. Even the CMA, which wanted the deal blocked so badly, even had to throw out the idea of harm against PlayStation, even admitting that even if Microsoft made Call of Duty exclusive to Xbox, it wouldn't really cause any harm to PlayStation. They threw it out. They basically hung their horse on the whole cloud angle, right? But all the regulators in the world basically had no issue with that. It's even the European Commission didn't, and they were like, we have some concerns about cloud, which Microsoft, they basically had to do those deals to get the European Commission to be like, all right, we're good with it. So this dude's been out flying around talking about, hey, he literally said our business will never recover. Like the PlayStation business, as it is right now, the second biggest business in gaming after Tencent, never ever recover, right? Couldn't even make the trip down to the FTC to testify. You know, obviously he clearly feels a certain way about it, but certain emails were discovered.
Emails?
Emails, yes, emails. Where Jim Ryan was emailing with a former CEO of Sony about the deal, like 2 days after the deal was announced. And this is what Jim had to say. It's not an exclusivity play at all. Even Jim knew all the way back then. Jim knew. Yeah, it's not about exclusives, right? He goes on to say they're thinking bigger than that, and they have the cash to make moves like this. I've spent a fair amount of time with both Phil and Bobby over the past day, and I'm pretty sure we will continue to see Call of Duty on PlayStation for many years to come. We have some good stuff cooking. I'm not complacent, and I'd rather this hadn't happened, but we'll be okay. We'll be more than okay.
So, are you telling me, Rand,
Jimbo,
that
Jimbo,
it's
Jimbo.
the opposite of what he said? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, so Jim knew it wasn't about exclusives because he knew it wouldn't be economically feasible for Microsoft to pull the game from PlayStation. And even Phil said today that they wouldn't do it because gamer outrage would be so big that it would harm the Xbox brand and it's not economically feasible. Jim knew, of course he knew, right? And of course he's like, yeah, we'll be, but this flies in the face of him telling regulators and everything, oh, we'll never recover our business. We'll be bankrupt. We won't be able to invest in first. We need Call of Duty. Bro, seriously, like, I don't even know what else to say. You know, we've been using the Lyin crying Jim Ryan thing for, you know, it's just like a term of endearment. You know what I mean? That's how it's, hey, you know, Jim Ryan's special. That's how we talk about our guy, right? It's a term of endearment, right? Because I love it when he talks. Because when he talks, good things come out. Good things for us to talk about. So yeah, I'm not surprised whatsoever that behind the scenes, the dude's like, they ain't making it exclusive, and PlayStation's going to be stronger than ever. And then Xbox has bigger designs on all this stuff than just exclusivity, because we all think, as console gamers, we sort of always think black and white, exclusive, not exclusive, what matters, what doesn't matter, right? But like when you look at Call of Duty and Activision, while Activision Blizzard may not provide the most exclusive content for Xbox in the future, what it will provide is that cushion that Jez talked about. What it will provide is that insane revenue, right? What it will provide is reaching more people. What it will provide is finally having a mobile presence and maybe trying to compete against the duopoly, Google and Apple. What it will provide is a bigger presence on PC with Blizzard, which they want to grow. What it will provide is a must-have game that everybody wants and pays for that will get people to look at Game Pass and get people to subscribe more. What it will provide is a healthier, more vibrant, future-proof Xbox, right? And it does that by not necessarily providing more exclusives like Starfield, but providing billions and billions and billions and billions of revenue and known IP, and basically progressing all of Xbox's strategies, like supercharging them. These are all things that they wanted to do, but Activision Blizzard gets there even faster than, they would be if they had to do it the other way, right?
Yes, I mean it's all about accelerating the brand and stuff like that, and Microsoft's kind of hinted that if they weren't able to get ABK, they go after other companies. There are a lot of companies out there that do have a sort of the DNA of what Microsoft's looking for with this deal. Like honestly, Square Enix. Square Enix is got a strong presence in mobile. They've got a lot of IP that Microsoft would probably love to foreclose on PlayStation. It's just I'm just so over it, man. I'm over it, man. A lot of people in chat are saying that the Google Stadia witness got cooked alive by Microsoft's lawyer.
Of course.
Google said Google's own witness said there's no cloud gaming market, which kind of destroys the FTC's arguments. So maybe Google's on Microsoft's side here. But yeah, I mean, there's just no real basis in reality for this. I suppose like the interesting thing to talk about, Rand, is like the decision's going to be on Thursday. If the judge doesn't grant the FTC's wishes,
what do I think happens? What do we think happens?
Microsoft can close
the
deal, I think. But the issue there is like, what do they do with the UK?
Doesn't matter
because, well, that's just it. It's like if you close around the UK, a couple of things can happen. They have to pay a big ass fine.
Fine.
And in the past, companies have just done that. They have just paid the fine to avoid further litigation or wrangling or whatever. I think like it'd be billions for Microsoft. It'd be billions. It'd be a huge fine. They can afford it. I don't think they'd want to pay it, but they can afford to do so. And they might just write it down as part of the process of whatever. But the other option is go nuclear, which is split Activision off into a separate entity in the UK.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
And that's. Again, that's going to cost a lot of money to make that happen too.
Here's what I think is going to happen. Okay, if I'm putting my crystal ball on, I think the judge will not grant the injunction, right? And I think Microsoft will come to some sort of agreement with the FTC, so the FTC can sort of save face, right? And they will take that and they will present it to the CMA, and they'll say, "We're going to close this deal. You can save face. Let's come to agreement. Let's stop all this stuff. We'll do whatever." And whether the CMA sort of comes up with some solution or not, I don't know. But it's clear to me that Microsoft wants this deal closed before July 18th. And if the FTC
they said that if they don't close the deal by July 18th, then they won't do it. I think they said that.
Well, there was some kind of talk that basically they would appeal it. I saw like some article saying that sources close to it, Microsoft would appeal it or something. So I think if they don't get the injunction, they'll maybe try to work something with the FTC, maybe to help them save face. So like, oh, we got this sort of concession or something. But they're going to close the deal, and it's just a matter of being like going to the CMA and be like, can we work something out? If not, it doesn't matter. We're closing this. And we feel pretty good that the cat may even rule in our favor eventually down the road, because even that might take like 9 months or whatever. But if this... I look, I'm not a lawyer. I follow FOSS patents. I read what Hogue Law has to say all the time, right? But I get the sense, and this is what I thought would happen before, Jez, remember? Was I felt if they had gotten the CMA thing, that they would close around the FTC, you remember? And they would force the FTC's bluff, or they would call the FTC's bluff to get them to go to federal court. And that's exactly what happened. Like, for whatever reason, the FTC is like, we need this hearing now because we think they're going to close it. And the FTC literally just got cooked, right? All their arguments has basically got blown up. So I think the judge is not going to grant the injunction. and Microsoft will close the deal before July 18th. I don't know when they'll close it, but I think they'll probably, because I think Microsoft also wants to, like, I don't know, like maybe make the FTC or the CMA look better, so they'll try to get a deal with those guys. But yeah, I think it'll be closed. If they don't get the injunction, I think this deal's good as closed. I don't know what happens in the future with the CMA or whatever, but this is sort of what I thought would happen way before, where I was like, the CMA might approve it, and then they'll close it around the FTC, forcing the FTC to go to court. Well, they'll win, because everybody was like, they don't have a court case. And it was clear from anybody watching this farce that the FTC clearly wasn't prepared and didn't understand the industry whatsoever. So, I hate this. I'm gonna say, don't count your chickens before they hatch, and who knows what can happen. But I just get the sense that
you're unseasoned chickens.
Yeah, you're unseasoned chickens. I can just get the sense that's what's gonna happen. It's just she's not gonna grant them the injunction, and then they'll close, and then Xbox will have 33 studios, and yeah, I don't know. Closing arguments are on Thursday, and parties have to file final proposed findings of fact and conditions of law on Friday, June 30th. So maybe after the holiday, maybe after the July 4th weekend, maybe we finally get something. It'll be very interesting to see. We don't got long to wait, essentially, right? If they file the injunction, it's over.
When's the last day?
Closing arguments are on Thursday. That's what Free Bear says. So
but what's Microsoft's deadline?
The July 18th.
July.
Yes.
Oh shit! I'm flying to Germany that day, I think.
Bro, you might have to fly back, because maybe Microsoft will have a big, huge press conference announcing ABK. You know what I mean?
They should do it in Germany. Or Brussels.
They should do it in Germany, huh? Man, think about it. The European Commission really saved them. Right?
Yeah, the European Commission really saved them. But I still don't think there's... I think there's every chance that they'll get the injunction, and that'll be it. Because, like I said, I don't think the system works. And
well, you can think that, Jez.
Gonna owe me $50 man.
No, because you're gonna have to
and
give him the money.
I want the money in Australian. I want the money in Australian dollaroos as well, please.
Isylar says, serious answer. Business 101. You don't support a failing 10-year gaming department. Of course, Xbox is being attacked. The quality is awful. Okay. Is that a question to me? I don't understand. You don't support a failing 10-year gaming department. Of course, Xbox is being attacked. The quality is awful. JD Gamer, just a layperson, but based on what I saw yesterday and today from the ABK case, the judge is likely to rule against the FTC and hand them their butts in that ruling, because how do you protect the market leader and not the customers? That's what people have been saying for a while. Nate Miller, every member of #BlandBrother is banished. No, you can't banish my Bland Brothers. There's dozens of us. Dave Ramos, could Disney be to Xbox as Marvel is to Sony? Well, I mean, Disney is to Sony, right? I don't know. I mean, they have a good relationship. We've seen what they've done with Rare. And there were some reports that maybe Bethesda has more deals with Disney in the works. We don't know. I mean, we don't know what a ZeniMax Online game, what it is, or what Roundhouse Games is. So
that's supposed to be a new IP, but
yeah,
maybe it's just like a new IP within the Star Wars universe.
Could
or something.
be. I don't know. Simon Brandy says, just finished the FTC case. Google guy got roasted. Yeah, that's what everybody says. Corey. Yeah. What it will provide is security from other third parties from trying to demand bullshit because of Sony pressure. Indeed. Geo says, Sony using the FTC to make Phil promise on the stand to bring games to the PS5 is disgusting. It doesn't go lower than this. Yeah, apparently that was the thing, Jez. When they got to cross-examine him, they tried to get him to, swear under oath about bringing more games to PlayStation and stuff.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're doing Sony's work for them. It's so weird. It's so strange.
Yeah, I mean,
they work for Sony. They're not even hired.
Lina Khan. Really this is Lina Khan's, and it's really just because Microsoft is big tech. That's it. And it's not to say like Sony's not big tech. They're a $1 billion company, but it's like, why are you protecting Sony so badly? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah. There's no thought to the consumers. Because that's the thing that really bugs me about this.
There's probably
their job is their duty is to consumers, not Sony. And somehow Sony spun it that they are the ones who choose what's good for consumers. That's how they've managed to do this. I don't know how they've managed to do it, but
they're amazing. But I don't know. Yeah, crazy shit. Meat Puppet. I'm kind of tired hearing about the Activision Xbox deal. Well, you ain't the only one. Just let it go through. The FTC is incompetent, and Sony is trying to corner the market, and Microsoft has major ineptitude when it comes to console innovation. Hey, I mean, one of the things Microsoft has been saying from the get-go is like, let us have Activision Blizzard because we suck. Right? I mean, come on. We make fun of Sony for being like, we need Call of Duty and our business won't recover and please and all this sort of stuff because it's ridiculous. And then on the opposite end, there's Microsoft being like, we don't know how to make good games. Like, we need them to compete. Please. It's like, look, I know everybody always tries to position themselves in the most favorable light or whatever, but this just as bad. I mean, come on. Like, during the 360 era, you were killing it, and then you pivoted wrong, and you thought, first-party content wasn't where it's at, and you could survive off of third-party content, and you bet wrong, and you got your ass handed to you. And you've been, considering Xbox wasn't important to Microsoft as PlayStation is important to Sony, yeah, like, budget was reduced and all these sort of things, and Sony just basically was laughing all the way to the bank because they didn't really have any competition because you screwed up so badly. I mean, you put yourself in this own position. And, I'm sure there are reasonable arguments to make against the acquisition. It's just that the FTC ain't making them, And the CMA ain't making them either. Like, yeah, maybe there is a cloud concern, but judging from how the actual market is, probably not. But I don't really think I've heard... The only I don't even say realistic, but when people talk about why the deal shouldn't go through, it's mostly it's a principle issue. It's a deal this size should never happen, right? It's mostly that. Like, this shouldn't happen because of how the number attached to it and the companies, right? It's not like, oh, this will cause PlayStation harm or all these sort of things, or it would make it's Xbox.
Call it what it is, Rand. It's ideological. The only arguments against this deal are ideological ones.
Exactly, ideological.
So it's like, the extrapolation there is capitalism's bad. Well, okay, well, if capitalism's bad, then what your argument is the whole system is bad, which, to be fair, is not a terrible argument to make. But the problem is, it's like you should be making that about big oil or big pharmaceuticals or big health insurance, or one of these markets that actually does destroy people's lives. This is fucking video games, man. It's really not that big of a deal. And, it's almost like the FTC is trying to flex its muscles on something that isn't as much of a big deal because they're absolutely powerless and pathetic to do anything about any of the real problems that exist within our markets. Anything that needs some kind of real regulation, like pharmaceuticals or fossil fuels or anything like this, they're absolutely, completely and utterly incompetent and totally powerless, toothless to do anything about this. So what do they go after? They go after video games. They go after fucking toys. That's what they go after. And it's just hilarious. It's sort of like, it's all a big projection about how inadequate they are. Because if they lose on this, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day which plastic box you get to play Call of Duty on. Who cares? Really, who cares? Even if, like, Microsoft, if Sony owned Call of Duty and they put the price up to $80, who cares? No one's going to die. It's not like, it's not like all the other stuff that they should be regulating and they should be trying to generate competition in. They go after this, but it's whatever,
bro.
That's why it comes back again to the system doesn't work.
People are saying that Stadia, like, basically destroyed, like, the said witness brought in by the FTC has overturned the main argument of the regulator. He declared that Stadia and cloud services compete with consoles and PC and says they are one market. Just basically destroyed what the FTC was trying to do, positioning it as like a separate market. He's saying it's the same market. And was that supposed to be one of FTC's own witnesses?
Oh
man.
my god!
I really don't
what
think
a
this.
mess.
I really don't think this could. How do I say it right? This couldn't have gone any better for Microsoft and Xbox, honestly.
Yeah, and they'll still lose.
I don't know about that. I think I think they're gonna get it. Don't worry. Don't believe Jez on this one. Because I see this Tom Warren article. He says apparently there was an audible oof in the courtroom after Judge Corley cut off the FTC's questions. Quote, "I don't need that. I'm going to cut off your questioning." Says Judge Corley cut off the FTC's Phil Spencer questioning. It feels like Judge Corley grew tired of the FTC's questioning of Phil Spencer earlier. Judge Corley cut in when the FTC was asking if Spencer could legally bind Microsoft into keeping Diablo on PlayStation. Why are they trying to protect PlayStation so badly? Like, what are they... So they wanted to legally bind Microsoft into keeping Diablo on PlayStation. A Microsoft lawyer objected, and Judge Corley said, quote, "Your point has been made. Move along." Then, later, Judge Corley directly cut off the FTC's questioning of Spencer after the regulator's lawyer asked if Spencer could make a Call of Duty commitment for bringing the game to PlayStation's cloud service. Quote, "I don't need that. I'm going to cut off your questioning," said Judge Corley. There was an audible oof from a few members of the audience watching on. MLEX reporter Michael Acton, who was in the courtroom, says, "Yowza." That does not sound good for them, Jez.
Yeah, but again, does the system work?
Oh my
does
God.
the system work? Is the FTC not going to go and meet that judge after hours? Slip her a bit of cash?
Yeah. So
does the system work?
The witness testimony is set to resume on Tuesday. Activision executives, including Bobby Kotick, Satya Nadella, and Nintendo's Steve Zinger. Closing arguments will be on Thursday. So
that is absolutely wild that Satya
I know, right? Right?
And Jim Ryan couldn't even bother to show up.
Jim Ryan couldn't even bother.
Satya Nadella. The fact, like, the whole idea that Xbox isn't supported by Microsoft that's completely gone out the window now. But this is exactly it. It's like, bro, if your entire business hinges on Call of Duty, shouldn't you be at this court case in person? Shouldn't you be giving public testimony instead of hiding it behind closed doors?
Jim don't care.
Well, that's exactly it. It's because he knows that it doesn't impact their business, and it's all in bad faith. I don't know.
Enigmatic Dream says capitalism isn't perfect, but it's the best system we've got because what they are doing now isn't capitalism. It's socialism government saying who wins and loses.
Let's not get into this.
Yeah, this is a gaming podcast, not sort of.
Yeah,
not sort of.
I mean, I'm not someone who's like, oh god, capitalism's evil. The capitalism demonstrably works if it's stewarded properly in good faith and there's competition. Capitalism works, But the problem is there's so many people who try and cheat the system. And there's not enough competition in certain markets, and there's not enough regulation to curate that competition. You can look at things like, the whole ISP situation in America. America has terrible internet because there's no competition amongst the ISPs, and that is a failing of the FTC to regulate that. The FTC failed to regulate that market, and now you've got like the worst internet in the developed world. Meanwhile, in Britain, I'm paying next to nothing for a gigabyte down because the competition is really fierce in the ISP world, and Britain doesn't even have the best internet in Europe. You look at like countries like Sweden and stuff, and it's the competition there is even fiercer. So it works when things are going well and things are being done properly. But this is just exactly it. You don't want a world where the gaming landscape is dominated by one company. You don't want a world where Sony is the only high-end video game manufacturer, or Microsoft for that matter, which is why it blows my mind that the FTC is kind of like, well, we prefer a world where Sony's the only competitor in this space, because at the end of the day, much like Google, Microsoft could just walk away. There is nothing stopping Microsoft from walking away from the console business whatsoever. It wouldn't even be a blip on their share price. If Microsoft shut down Xbox tomorrow, their share price would probably go up. It wouldn't affect their share price at all. All those GPUs that are being used for xCloud right now, they will pivot them straight into AI. all the hardware and all the developers and all the engineers that work on Xbox, that will go and work on AI, which is going to be a way bigger deal, and which is like, going to be the bet for the future for investors. So FTC's arguments of like, we need to protect Sony, they are doing the opposite of capitalism by not allowing competition to flourish. I think Satya Nadella himself said, you want competition? Let us have it. Let us have competition. The FTC said no. So, yeah, I guess they are operating on a socialistic basis, but it is what it is.
Eternal Shaddai says, Sony told Jim Ryan, quote, if you go to court, you will be cross-examined. Jim Ryan reply, I don't like being examined. Send them a video instead. Latex glove slaps. Anything that is examination, he runs. Geez, I don't even, like, what else do we even... Do we talk about everything we wanted to talk about? Is there anything else? Chad, is there anything else regarding all this stuff that have we touched on everything important? Because I'm sure there's a lot of minutia stuff, and maybe I'll make a video about some of these things tomorrow.
I think we did get everything. We talked about the consoles coming early. We talked about all the Scrolls.
We thought we talked about everything important. I'm sure maybe there's a lot of stuff here, and not everything's like super important, but I feel like we've hit on everything that's been going on. If I haven't, then I apologize. Let us know in chat. If you guys are enjoying the show, make sure you hit the like button and please subscribe. So what do you think? Should we move on to Patreon questions, Jez?
Yep, let's Patreon it up, bro.
I mean, yeah, there's some of the Starfield stuff. We mentioned like Paris and their interview. The thing that stood out to me was the 10% of the planets have life, which that's 100 planets. It's a lot of planets, right? No land vehicles, but the jetpack kind of serves as a way to get around and stuff. I thought it was a really good. Tom says you can touch on my important thing, Rand. Pause.
Bruh. Only if you use Manscaped.
Yeah, Manscaped. Code XB2. Links in the description. All that good stuff. Dean Gamer says, it's 6:50 a.m. in Western Australia. Thank you for making my workday bearable. You're both absolutely legends. Also just wanted to say I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 and loving it. It sucks it's not an Xbox. Yeah, it does suck that it's not an Xbox.
Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Maybe Final Fantasy 9 remake will be on Xbox. We did
one thing that is coming to Xbox, which wasn't previously announced, is the Metal Gear Solid Classic Collection.
Yeah. There's a good possibility that Metal Gear Solid 4 will actually be on something that it's not a PS3, possibly.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Which would be there was the thing that came out. Ryan Payton did say that they actually got it running on an Xbox 360.
Yes,
there was no exclusivity contract between Sony and Konami. It was just about the physical discs, and that Konami decided not to do it.
Disc printing ain't cheap.
Yeah, so I mean,
why you're seeing a lot of AAA games are skipping discs these days.
I sort of look at it though, and I'm like, Metal Gear Solid 1, it'd be nice to own, but I'm not sure I'd want to replay Metal Gear 1 or 2. Really, I mean,
I will.
2 and 3 already exist in the HD collection, and I think those will probably actually run better and play better than this one, because this sort of doesn't. This one sort of seems like they're not touched up. But if like Volume 2 comes with Metal Gear Solid 4, I might consider getting that, because I never played Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh,
because I didn't have a PlayStation 3.
I owned one PS3 game, and it was Metal Gear Solid 4.
Oh, really?
My brother had the PS3. When we were younger, teenagers or whatever, and I was kind of like, playing on PC mainly that point. World of Warcraft, as you probably guessed. And but I've always been a huge Metal Gear Solid guy, so I did buy Metal Gear Solid 4 on PS3 and played it on his PS3, and it is like, man, a lot of cutscenes. It's like Final Fantasy 16. It's like you walk 5 seconds and there's a cutscene, but it is a special game. There is something special about Metal Gear Solid 4 that only Metal Gear fans could truly appreciate. It's a very strange game. It's probably the strangest Metal Gear, probably. But there's some amazing moments in that game. Absolutely amazing. Very emotional. Great game. Loved it.
Yeah. Enigmatic Dream says, Jez, write an article to bring back Parasite Eve, please. And good old Collingwood.
Parasite Eve, so good.
Final Fantasy 16, can you pet the dog? Indeed, you can pet the dog, and there's actually a trophy for petting Torgal 5 times. He's a good boy. Torgal's a good boy.
Good boy. Oh, man, I'm getting sleepy now.
Yeah, so
midnight.
We need to hit that Patreon, bro. Let's
do some Patreon.
Let me open up the Patreon stuff here. Let me get the come on. Load up website. Why is it taking forever?
It'd be funny if Patreon was down.
No, it's up. It's just taking forever to load for whatever reason. All right. I got all the questions here ready to roll. You too can also join our Patreon, Xbox or patreon.com/XB2. Links in the description. You can listen to Paris Lily's interview that we did on Tuesday. We have Xbox 2 Ultimate coming up. You can ask questions and a whole bunch of other perks. Thank you guys so much for being a part of our Patreon. We have a question here from Sith Lord, Jez.
Hey,
Why
Sith Lord.
can't Nick remember 33 Immortals, but he keeps killing it 33 idols? Does he really like 16-year-old girls that much? Apparently, I don't know. Maybe. Hey, how was your co-hosting with Nick this past week? Was it all right?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good fun.
Yeah?
Good fun.
Oh, good fun indeed. I think I'm going to be on Xbox Era in a couple weeks. So, Silas, happy.
We played a quiz. I just remembered we played a quiz.
Oh, the little game thing that they do.
Yeah.
Did you win or lose?
I lost, but on the bonus questions I won. So I'm going to take that as a win.
So you're basically 2-1 versus Nick.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
All right, Silas, happy Friday. Brad Smith is doing business in London and decides to take a trip to the Corden ancestral home. Jez, he presents you with a 10-year contract that commits Microsoft to bringing back and supporting Windows Phone, while also allowing you to be involved in development and support. However, as part of the contract, you could not play any games from Blizzard for the duration of the contract. What would you do? Ooh.
Oh no! For the duration of the contract?
For the duration of the contract.
Oh my god, that is an awful question.
So it's either bring back Windows Phone or play Blizzard games. Can't have one or the other, Jez. Which one are you doing?
I've got to go with Blizzard, man.
Oh, the Windows Phone is staying dead forever. You heard it here first.
Did you Phil actually talked about Windows Phone in the call hearing. Yeah, he did. I don't know what the context, but I got a flurry of messages saying, "Oh my god, Phil talked about Windows Phone." On Twitter, so I need to go and find that context because I could write a lovely clickbait article about that.
Okay, so we have Glitch Doctor. What's the worst question mission in a game you liked? The library in Halo CE doesn't count; it's too easy.
I actually like the library. A mission that sucks in a game you like.
I mean, it's.
I really hate. There's a couple that come to mind immediately for me. One of them is scanning the keepers in Mass Effect 1 Citadel.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
I hate doing that, and it's a tradition in my family that I pay a sibling $5 to do it.
Okay.
I've been doing that for more than 10 years, I guess, at this point. But again, I'm gonna go with another BioWare quest here. I really hate doing. In Dragon Age Origins, there's a section where you go into the Fade, and there's a bunch of sort of puzzles in this sort of maze-like area. I hate doing that so much, and thankfully, there is a dialogue option you can take that gets you out of having to do that segment. But you have to be like really evil to do it. You basically have to murder a child. I think you have to murder the child to get out of doing the Fade. If I remember correctly, I might be misremembering that, but you can get out of doing it. So yeah, at least there's that. But man, I hated that quest so bad. There's probably loads of quests like that I could think of, but that could make a whole episode about that. Have you got any off the top of your head, Ren?
I mean, the ones that I always hate doing in general, I don't remember the specific ones, but like the I always hate like the follow missions in Assassin's Creed where you have to tail a subject, kind of be on the rooftops and watch and not get seen, or the ones where you have to like protect them, like the ones where you basically have to let them tag along missions. And escort missions. They're the absolute worst. I mean, library did suck.
About escort missions.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good question. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head. I just know the type of missions I don't like. Escort, like tailing. Like say ones in like games where like you had to like in a car, you're like, oh god, tail them. You're like behind them in the car.
You have to drive slowly.
Yeah, and it's like those are just lame. Wolfgang KPZ. He says, I'll just copy here the question from Xbox 2+1, so don't worry about reading that one. I feel like Xbox's dream of playing games where you want is better than ever. Personally, with Play Anywhere and Cloud, I'm always jumping in between console, PC, phone, and now ROG Ally. Do you think Xbox and Windows will visually improve their portable experiences with the success of these devices? Also, why can't Xbox label correctly or market their Play Anywhere features? I always need to test it to know. For example, Like a Dragon Ishin or Inscription have cross-buy, and that is huge for me, but it wasn't visible enough. For some, this might be a point to buying the Xbox version rather than Steam or the PlayStation version. What do you think, Jez? Because this is more you.
Well,
because you've mentioned this to me because you got the ROG Ally and you're loving it, but now you also have the
G Cloud.
The G Cloud. And I think you're liking
loads of handhelds.
But you're jumping in between console, phone, all that sort of stuff, and you love it, and that's definitely like a feather in Microsoft's cap compared to the other ones, right?
It's kind of crazy that like I can jump from The Witcher, not The Witcher. Well, actually, The Witcher, but also Cyberpunk. I was trying to say Cyberpunk. You can jump from Cyberpunk on NVIDIA GeForce Now, and then jump to it natively on PC. And then go to Xbox Series X, and then play it on xCloud. Oh well, not xCloud. You can play it on the ROG Ally, and it's the save files carry across all those platforms. Using if you sign in with your GOG account, and it does feel like gradually we're moving towards that vision where you can just take your save files to any platform. And more games are trying to do that, and obviously Microsoft's one of the at the forefront of doing some of that stuff. I will say in Los Angeles I met up with I don't want to say their name because I'm not sure if I'm allowed to,
okay,
or if it was on the record.
Is it a secret?
But I think it's a secret.
Oh my god, secrets.
Secret. I met up with someone at the Xbox platform team, and I actually did bring up specifically that scenario where I don't know what's Xbox Play Anywhere and what isn't. Because it just doesn't tell you. There's no consistency about which games are Play Anywhere, which games have cloud saves and which don't, and that kind of stuff. And I was told that right now it's up to devs to make that known, and they don't actually have a flag for it in their store listing database. So that's why like there's no real information about that experience, but it is something they're aware of, and hopefully something they'll improve. We'll just have to wait.
Yeah.
They're aware of it.
Yeah. You're really enjoying the ROG Ally, right?
I love it, yeah. I mean, the battery life isn't amazing, but I just plug it in, got a big-ass cable. I used it plugged in on the plane, and, if you are playing a 2D game, you can get the battery life up to, like, maybe three hours, especially if you're playing at 720p 30. The battery life is not great. But the trade-off is that it's really light, it's really balanced, and it's nowhere near as bulky as a Steam Deck. So I actually prefer the option to have something lighter and more portable, and while still having the ability to put it in turbo mode and plug it in and play it at 30 watts or whatever. I love it. I think it's a really great device, and I think this category is going to be really exciting in maybe 5 to 10 years. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, we definitely will. Topper says Xbox had a good streak of services, platform betterments that were received well. Play Anywhere, Back and Pat, FPS Boost, Game Pass, xCloud, but nothing more recently. Jez, do you have any insight of what might be, as the kids say, cooking for service additions?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is another thing that I've sort of been trying to investigate, like why the innovation on the service on the platform side seems to have completely stopped. You know, for a while we had like new features coming all the time. You know, a lot of them weren't great. You know, Xbox Clubs, nobody really uses that. Xbox LFG system, some people use that, but not many. And then, you know, lots of, you know, xCloud itself, you know, exciting, and backwards compatibility, exciting. And it feels like the innovation on the platform is completely halted. There's just nothing there now. And from what I understand, it's because a lot of the dev hours is that it is being sort of allocated to xCloud to try and improve it. But increasingly, I'm wondering if they're going to look at devices like the ROG Ally and just be like, we're betting on the wrong horse here. Because I think the ROG Ally represents the future of portable Xbox games, not xCloud. Being completely honest. And I'm someone who's very bullish about xCloud and its potential. So maybe we'll see a pivot. But I also think like the ABK deal has them very distracted as well. So I think once the ABK deal's finished, we might see more effective communication with regards to some of that stuff. We'll just have to wait.
All right. We have let's see. We have James Weezo. We have been eating real good this year so far that I thought we could play a little fun game of Snog, Marry, Avoid, video game style. I know Randall Hipster doesn't like masterpieces on a cough certain system, so I'll give you each a different selection of some of my favorite games this year. So Jez, we're doing Snog, Marry, Avoid. And
Snog.
Your choices are Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. So which one are you snogging, which one are you marrying, and which one are you avoiding?
I'll snog Final Fantasy.
Okay.
I'll marry Diablo.
Okay.
And I'll avoid Zelda.
Yeah, that's too easy for him. That's too easy. Come on.
That's way easy.
Now, for me, it's tough. My choices are Jedi Survivor, Hi-Fi Rush, and Resident Evil 4 Remake. This is difficult. This is difficult. So, let's see. I would snog.
Americans say that.
Oh, I'm just going to say because he says it. No, it's Kiss, Marry, Kill, right? Kiss, Marry, Kill. But it's Snog, Marry, Avoid, or whatever. So I would marry Resident Evil 4 Remake. I would snog Jedi Survivor, and I would avoid Hi-Fi Rush. Kills me to say. But you actually gave me 3 games that I actually finished and I love. You gave Jez 2 games and 1 game he's never going to play. That's not fair. It should have been it should have been Diablo 4. I don't even know what other games you played this year, like that you actually like, because it was like, Diablo. It should have been like Diablo, Overwatch 2.
I reviewed something before Diablo, didn't I? What was it? I can't remember.
No, but
I started reviewing games this year.
If you were to rate your top, your games of the year so far this year, obviously Diablo's number 1. What would even be number 2?
I don't know.
See, exactly.
What even came out this year?
Well, the fact that you don't even know is why he gave you 1 game out of 3. You played one of those 3 games, so of course it's easy for you to pick what you want. For me, he actually gave me 3 games that I played and that I value really highly. So it's very difficult for me to say avoid Hi-Fi Rush because I love it. So that's not very fair, James. It's not very fair at all. Tommy says, nothing game-related this week, Rand. I will be in Chicago later this summer to watch Crystal Palace football, and just wondering if there's anything I have to do while in Chicago or anywhere I have to eat. Taking a trip down to Navy Pier is always super cool if you haven't been there, especially during the summer. If you're here during the summer, while Taste of Chicago's going on, I recommend going there. They got some great food. Any specific places? Like if you want pizza? I guess
pizza place you're always going about.
There's Palermo's. Palermo's pizza is amazing. That's what I gave to Cognito. But a lot of people like Giordano's or Lou Malnati's.
Illuminati?
Lou Malnati's.
Wow.
A lot of people will say Portillo's hot dog place or whatever is really good. But yeah, I mean, I really haven't gone downtown to check stuff out, but yeah. Parker Griffith, I know you both are basically digital only. Do you think it is a waste to collect physical games, whether retro or modern? I mean, whatever floats your boat. I prefer digital, but it's not really because of like it's a waste to collect physical games. It's more because of how easy it is to just install and be ready to go the day of, and how Game Share makes it so you can share the cost of these expensive ass games, right? Final Fantasy 16, $70 game. Actually, my buddy bought the $90 version, and I didn't have to pay a cent. I'm playing Final Fantasy 16 for nothing because, other games like Diablo 4, I bought Diablo 4. So the way, console sharing works, or game sharing, you can basically spread out the cost of titles, and it works very well. So, $35 for a new release, or $30 is very appealing to me. And whereas a physical game, you can't really do that. So digital just offers more value to me and what I like and how I go about. And I understand it's not for everybody. People love to have their collections. And don't get me wrong, I understand that because I got a book collection going. And I could easily buy them digital, even though I do think there's a little difference there. Like reading a book physically is different than reading a book, digitally, in my opinion. So I get people loving their collections. And true, you can always resell your games. I just prefer digital. That's just me. What about you, Jez? I mean, I'm pretty sure you're digital as well, right?
I'm 100% digital since the end of the 360 gen when they started going digital. It was actually Xbox Live Arcade that made me start going digital because all those games were digital. And then I was like, wow, what if all my games were digital, So you can blame Xbox Live Arcade for me. But I don't begrudge people who collect. I still own a lot of my PS1 and PS2 games, and some of them are worth serious money, to my surprise. I would probably still collect physical games if I had the space. But that was a big thing for me. I just didn't have the space anymore. I just did not have any room in my life for that stuff anymore, unfortunately. So I ditched it on that basis mainly. But yeah, I still think collecting physical is cool. I still have like a lot of merch and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's see. We got another question here from D Butcher. Good day, Rand and Jez. I've been wanting to get a Steam Deck for a while, but Jez's article convinced me to pull the trigger on the ROG Ally instead. If I don't like it, will he reimburse me for it? Keep up the great work, guys.
No.
No. Apparently, he will not reimburse you for it.
You can trade it in, though.
Yeah. Hopefully you enjoy it.
GameStop will give you like $5 for it, I guess.
Let's see what else we got here. Achievement. Do you think the Xbox price hikes were strategically done the day before the trial, so it would be too soon for the opposition to change their narrative? I don't think so.
I mean, it's kind of like what you were saying. Like no one can say they put the price up if they did it beforehand.
Yeah, but I don't think it was done because of the FTC thing. I think it was just done because they
were going to do it anyway.
They were going to do it, and they needed to do it at some point. I will say, and I think you would agree with me, and I think most people here would agree with me, if they had announced the price increase before the showcase, people would have flipped their shit. Like, imagine if it was Redfall is a disaster, the ABK deal's blocked by the CMA, and before the showcase, oh, by the way, we're raising prices. I sort of feel like with how the showcase was received and how the future looks, and especially how Starfield looks like a game of the generation, that then Microsoft kind of sliding in, oh, by the way, we're raising prices. People are just like, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like $1, $2, whatever. I already have my console. Actually, this is like the first time it seems to be an early adopter paid off. How often do you see products raise price 3-4 years into its cycle. Hardly ever, if ever, really.
This is a very strange economy we're in right now.
Yeah. So
the UK just raised interest rates again to 5%. It's absurd. You know, I'm really glad my family finished paying their mortgage off a few years ago.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if they did it because the FTC couldn't, because that seems like an easy thing the FTC could sort of talk about if they want. Oh, you just raised prices, but it's about trying to like define a market and determine about immediate harm and all these sort of things what the FTC really didn't do. And I'm not sure price hikes fall into those categories. You know, especially, well, PlayStation raised their prices, so it's kind of like, I don't know, tit for tat. Rustin, hey Jez and Randulus Maximus Aurelius of the Xbox 2 Legion. Rand, if you were trapped on a submarine with Jez and Special Nick, and the only way to survive was to kick one out of the darkest depths of the ocean, who would you pick? Bro, I wouldn't even have to think about it. Special Nick is gone, bro. Jez is my boy. Special Nick gets kicked out and gets imploded.
Well, the thing is, Nick's Australian, so
yeah.
Even though it's obviously Nick, I just feel like Nick could probably survive in the deepest, darkest depths of the ocean anyway.
Yeah, I think he could too.
Yeah.
Lee Sanders says, question was missed last week, so reposting. Hi, Rand.
Oh, sorry.
Jez, Rand, and various guests. First up, what a showcase. Calling it now, we get a Hellbait date at the Game Awards and a developer direct in January for launch early next year. So I haven't been one to connect to Bethesda games. I just couldn't get into Skyrim and Fallout. Not that I don't appreciate them. However, after that direct, I am excited for the game. Starfield comes to us 5 days early thanks to premium upgrade. So on September 1st, you are all suited up. You have completed the basic tutorial. The stars await. What's the first thing you are looking to go and do? Jez, what do you think? What's the first thing you're looking to do?
Join the Crimson Fleet Space Pirates.
You're going to be a space pirate, huh?
Of course I am. I'm full-blown, totally ready. Going to be a space pirate. What about you, Rand?
That's a good...
I'm really going to... I'm going to engage a lot in the base building systems. I'm going to make a big-ass spaceship and all that shit.
I don't know. I'm definitely getting that jetpack, though. The boost pack. I need that thing. That's like my first thing I'm grabbing.
Here's a question for you, Rand. What playstyle will you play? Will you go heavy weapons? Will you try stealth? Will you play melee? You know, how will you optimize your character? Because you can't really optimize for every type of weapon.
Yeah, that's interesting. I do like in the Fallout games I played, like 3 as well as Elder Scrolls, I do like to finesse people where, you know, with dialogue options, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, persuasion. Yeah,
so I do like investing in persuasion. I don't know. I think I might be in this one. Maybe I'll go more run and gun-ish.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
The gunplay looks really good.
The gunplay looks really great. I don't know. That's the thing. It's like there's so many. I won't really know until
so many options
until I actually step up to play. Honestly,
yeah.
Like you go through the tutorial. Where do you go from there? Right? I'm sure there's going to be like, oh, you go here for tutorial, and then it's like, now you can go wherever. It's like, do you continue on with the main story? Do you go off and explore on your own? Do you find a planet and resource mine it and build an outpost? Do you join the like Crimson Fleet, like Jess says, and go just do piracy missions? Do you start your own? Do you build ships? Like, I won't really know until I start playing the game and just go wherever I feel like going, I guess. That's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of Creation Engine.
Yeah.
Do anything you want. It's crazy.
Rick Gaffney. No question this week, fellas. Just wanted to say thank you for the fantastic content you both provide, and the coverage of not E3 this year has been amazing. I say this as I've been quite poorly the last few weeks, and to have you guys talking about our passion for the Xbox kept me company entertained. You guys have no idea how important you are for so many people. Thank you once again. Well, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
For being here with us. It means a lot. David, keeping up with the court case today, I cannot see how they rule against Xbox. All their points are sound. I'm sick of it, but it's nice to finally get into the meat of the problems. With the acquisitions Microsoft is waiting on are missed due to Sony prolonging the Activision deal. I think that's why Microsoft needs to love it. Long, they need plans for the future. Are you guys playing Final Fantasy? I am playing Final Fantasy. I'm 5 hours in. Can't wait to get back and play it more this week. Jez, you did talk about earlier about how Microsoft did miss out on some acquisitions, or were talking to publishers before the Activision deal. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned that before.
I heard that they were in talks with a publisher to do an acquisition, and it fell through because they pivoted to IBK, which obviously was a way bigger prize than what was going on there. But I think they could revisit some of that stuff because it's all money at the end of the day, and if the shareholders are going to get a good return, and that's ultimately what publicly traded companies are all about, privately or publicly traded companies are all about. What's the exit? What is my exit strategy here? Am I in it for dividends, or am I in it because the company's going to go public? Like Reddit's supposed to be going public. I don't know if you've been following the Reddit meltdown.
So what happened? I don't really use Reddit. So like, what happened with Reddit? What happened with all the stuff that Can you quickly explain it?
Just quickly with Reddit, like from what I understand, they increased the cost of their API keys exponentially. So mirroring Twitter, right? Because Elon Musk increased the price of Twitter API keys, which killed all third-party Twitter apps. So independent developers can't make Twitter integrations, and that's why we don't have sharing to Twitter anymore of Xbox, because Twitter was like, okay, well, if you want that functionality, you got to pay us thousands and thousands of dollars per use. That's so like they call them API calls, right? So they increase the cost of the API call, which is like every single time a user uses the service on your service, and they increase the cost. And one of the most popular Reddit apps is this app called Apollo, which I've never used. It's iOS, I think. I don't know if it's on Android, but it's much better than the official client apparently. And it wouldn't have been. I don't know if it would have been such a big deal if the CEO just kept his mouth shut. But the CEO came onto Reddit and was kind of trying to explain and stuff, and he was caught out lying. Basically, he said that the dev of Apollo had threatened to blackmail him or something. But the dev of Apollo had a recording of the phone call in question, and it's just like the guy was lying. So the CEO of Reddit was lying. This guy called Spez is known as. So yeah, now it's this horrible, massive thing where a lot of popular subreddits have just gone dark and closed down, or they're just posting spam, and it's just a big old mess. It's hilarious, and they are supposed to be going public with offering an IPO sometime in the future, which is just hilarious. And yeah, that's Reddit, complete shithole.
Yeah, okay. So we got SJ Dub. No questions this week. I mainly been following the court hearing these past couple days. I also want to let Jez know that he convinced me to place an order for the ROG Ally. I don't have a gaming PC, but this seemed like a good pickup for me. Man, they need to cut you some commission, bro. You've at least sold two of them so far, if not more. Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, I can track on our website. We've sold quite a lot of ROG Allies, but it deserves it. It's a great device, And honestly, they've been really quick at updating it as well. There's a ROG Ally Discord, because it is kind of an early adopter experience, and they have pushed a couple of updates which have caused issues and stuff while they're tweaking things. But they've got a Discord, and they're really engaged with the community. It really feels like almost like a grassroots kind of effort to grow this platform. So I'm really excited about it. I think it's really, really cool. And it really saved my ass on that transatlantic flight. It's awesome. And tomorrow, I'm going to probably take it round my fam's house, and we're going to all play Diablo together in the same room with Steam Deck, Xbox, ROG Ally, laptop. That's the beauty of Phil Spencer's vision, Play wherever we want, whatever platform you want, I think that's awesome.
Right. We have Luke saying, hey, hello, gents. No real-life limitations. You can add one console system emulation on your Series X with the system's full back catalog. What system and why? For me, it would be the Amiga. Some amazing games back then, lots of variety. So what would it be for you, Jez? What system with all their games emulation would you put on the Xbox Series X?
I mean, I'm presuming PC doesn't count. I mean, if PC counts, definitely PC, because he's talking thousands and thousands and thousands of games. It'd be cool to get like full blown Windows there, I guess. But if we're talking consoles, probably. Oh man, that's kind of tough. There's a lot of games on the 360 that I'd still like to see on backwards compatibility.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm inclined to choose the 360, to be honest. I mean, I know that's not the nostalgic answer, but I sometimes I do go back and play like some of the older games. I recently played Silent Hill 2, for example, on PS2. But honestly, the vast majority of old games have not aged very well, and I'd rather just get the 360 games, to be honest. I'd rather just to finish off the 360 back compatibility catalog.
See,
I don't know if you've got a different take.
See, when I think about this question, I'm just not someone who really even uses back compat in the first place. So when you ask me like which system would I want for retro gaming, I don't care about retro gaming like that. Because it's like, okay, would I want the NES? Not really. Would I want the Super Nintendo? Maybe, because I never played anything on the Super Nintendo. So at least maybe I could finally play some of those games. But Sega, But then you come up to like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I mean, PlayStation 2 would be pretty damn cool. It'd probably be between PlayStation 2 and the 360 for me. Like having all of the 360's games on there or the PlayStation 2 stuff.
Could you choose the Nintendo Switch? Let's just get the Nintendo Switch on my Xbox.
I mean, you could choose that if you want. But it's just, for me, I'm not really a retro dude, so I probably would just pick the 360 because that is probably my favorite generation, or at least the generation I played the most games in. And before that, it would probably be PlayStation. Like, I don't really have any desire to go back and play Sega Genesis games or Nintendo games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
CJ, hey, gents. I'm sure plenty of people will be asking about the FTC case, so I wanted to ask Jez something more serious. Jez, do you prefer 1, straight cut chips? 2, crinkle cut chips? 3, curly fries? These chips are in the English term. Have happy weekend, guys. So which one, Jez? Straight cut chips, crinkle cut chips, or curly fries?
I'm going to cheat.
Oh, okay.
I really liked Chick-fil-A's waffle fries.
What? Did you finally have that when you were here in LA?
Yeah, when I was in LA, I had Chick-fil-A. I had waffle fries with Chick-fil-A sauce. Incredible. That Chick-fil-A sauce is probably the best sauce I've ever had in my entire life. I was mind blown. So I'm gonna go waffle fries with Chick-fil-A sauce. I'm gonna cheat and select a different option.
Did you go to In-N-Out?
I did not. I did not.
Jay Foley. He says, "Hi guys. Do you guys think Xbox will do another Direct next year for another game? Maybe Hellblade or Fable? I do think they'll do another Direct next year. Probably be for a bunch of games. It could be like, here's a look at Fable, and here's a look at... No, not Fable, but here's Hellblade, here's Towerborn, here's Avowed. I could see that happening, right?
They could call it Xbox Mini Direct or something like that.
I'm sure they'll
just call it Developer Direct.
Yeah, they're just going to call it Xbox Developer Direct. Yeah, I don't see why... it doesn't have to be a lot of games. They did it, with 5 this year? So
That's terrible for SEO, man, if they call them all the same thing.
Aren't Nintendo Directs all called the same thing? Isn't it a Nintendo Direct? Is that bad?
Yeah, I guess.
And I mean, isn't PlayStation's always called State of Play?
I guess.
Tharsman. Rand, I understand your current computer is a bit old, but in a world where you owned a fancy new computer that put your Xbox to shame, would you still play games like Starfield at 30 FPS on console, or prefer to play them on PC?
That's a good question.
I'd be playing on console. I'm a console guy. I'm not playing anything on PC, even if I had a good PC. Look, you could argue...
Why?
You could argue, I have had this PC... I got this PC back in 2018, and I think even then it was better than the Xbox One X. And I still didn't play games on PC. And I just don't want to play on PC, bro. I'm sorry. I just don't want to sit here and just play on PC where where I make my videos and where I watch Twitter, YouTube and stuff. Like I just don't.
You can plug it into your TV, right?
Sure, but like my TV and my computer are also really far apart, so I don't want to
Just
stretch.
get a big ass cable, bro.
No, there's no I don't even have my PlayStation and my Xbox hooked up wired. They're wireless because
Use Steam Link.
don't no.
Steam Link works really well. It's pre-installed on a lot of TVs these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand I could run a cable and hook it up to my TV, but I just don't really have any interest whatsoever playing on PC. And I mean, I am going to get a new PC, and I don't know, maybe I'll just forever be a console guy. I don't know.
Please don't get a 4090 or something.
Oh, bro, I'm totally
totally
getting a 4090, bro.
Oh, please don't.
I'm totally getting a 4090. I'm going to get.
Come on.
Bro, it's for
That's such a waste.
video editing, bro. Why?
What? 1080p? You don't need a 4090 for 1080p.
Dude, you jealous right now, bro?
Yes.
Are you jealous? You got the ROG Ally?
Yes,
You're
I'm
good.
jealous.
Why are you jealous, bro?
The ROG Ally is not a 4090.
So you don't want me to get a 4090 because you can't have a 4090, huh?
Well, it's just a waste. You don't need a 4090.
So what did I get? Should I get a 3080 then?
Maybe not even that. Something even lower, probably.
Why would I get even something lower?
You don't need a 3080 either. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I would use it to edit videos, and I could edit those things really quickly, and I put out my videos in 4K because I do it in 1080p. I've never heard Jez so jealous, and is like, you're not gonna get a 4080, are you? Oh my god, that's too much.
You said 4090.
Whatever. Well, either way, now you're even saying 3080s. I mean, I have a 1080 in here, so are you saying like, oh, you can only go up to 2080?
Yes.
And we have Radimus Cisco. Hey guys, last minute question, so hopefully it makes the show. If not, it's fine. Random question. What are some countries or a country that you would like to travel to, visit, or to live there? Thank you, and have a good evening.
Scotland.
Which one?
Scotland. I've always wanted to visit Scotland, and it's hilarious because it's up the road, really.
I've always
never got around to it.
These are the places I want to visit, right? Well, like countries and states. I want to visit Vegas. I've never been to Vegas, so Vegas would be one. I would love to go to Hawaii and visit Hawaii. As for other countries, I really kind of want to visit Ireland. Ancestry. Yeah, I'm 50% Irish, right?
Oh wow!
And I kind of want to visit Italy. I'm not
sure about that. They season their food in Italy.
I don't know. There's like some places like Italy and maybe France.
Nah, you don't want to go to France.
No,
nobody wants to go to France.
Well, but it's like I don't really want to visit the UK. I don't really have any desire to visit Germany or
you don't want to visit
Spain.
The UK?
Or like
we got the Queen, the King, whatever.
I don't know. Maybe one of the Nordic countries, maybe like Norway or something, Sweden, something like that.
I also want to visit Japan. Japan is the only place I want to go.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
I'm actually. Oh, you should know, Rand. I'll tell you now. In August, you're gonna have to find a guest host for 2 episodes because I'm going to Iceland for 2 weeks.
What? A guest host in August?
For 2 weeks because I'm going to Iceland.
Oh, Jesus Christ! All right. People are just. Someone's like, "Be careful going to Italy, Rand. They season their food there." Glitch Doctor, 50% Irish, the other half is bland. This is never gonna end now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's all the questions asked. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? Or are we good to go, Jez? What do you think?
I think I upset some French people in the chat. I think we're good. I think we're all good.
Yeah.
I think we're all good.
So, we will be back on for next Friday, obviously, with Xbox 2. Probably with the decision with the judge, because I think that's coming Thursday, so we'll know. We'll see what happens. Look out for Xbox 2 Ultimate on Tuesday. For all you Patreon members, that'll be live on Tuesday. Don't know what we're going to talk about. It should be fun.
We should do.
It always
we
is
should
fun.
do the quiz. We should do the quiz that the other guys did.
Quiz.
We should get Jesse in to moderate a quiz for us.
Quiz.
We'll figure it out.
Oh,
Yeah, quiz.
okay. I've been there when I've read it to him. I don't really like those sort of games.
Okay.
But yeah, make sure you guys like
You
the.
don't really like seasoning either.
Yeah, I don't really like seasoning, I guess. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And with that, we are out of here. Have a good rest of the weekend. Play some games, and we'll be back next week. Love you guys. Keep it gaming. Later.
Take care, everybody. Woo.